Chapter 1026. New Home, New Era. End of this volume. Request for monthly passes. They're fleeing? Lin Yuan gazed into the distance. The black ship and the suspended island were darting through the void, exuding an air of frantic escape. These insignificant beings, are they plunderers stationed outside the universe? Lin Yuan's thoughts moved with incredible speed, immediately deducing their origins. Guarding outside the universe for no apparent reason, only to panic and flee upon seeing him emerge. What else could they be but plunderers? Return. Lin Yuan's mind stirred slightly. The divine ability world began its operation. In an instant, 2 million light-years in radius, centered on Lin Yuan, transformed entirely into an external cosmos. Aboard the black ship, Bloodshade Sovereign only began to relax after they had traveled more than 10 million light-years away. We've survived. A faint smile appeared on Bloodshade Sovereign's face. He glanced behind him, and even at such an extensive distance, he could vaguely see that towering figure. At this range, even if he wanted to pursue, it'd be too late. Bloodshade Sovereign had yet to finish his thought. Suddenly, from every direction, an entirely new space-time descended. In this fleeting moment, Bloodshade Sovereign vaguely heard a voice by his ear. Return. When Bloodshade Sovereign regained consciousness, he was already back within the familiar void, precisely the spot outside the universe had been guarding moments ago. Damn it. Bloodshade Sovereign's spirits instantly sank to rock bottom. He swept his gaze around and shockingly discovered that Serpent Demon Sovereign was likewise nearby. Both sovereign-level powerhouses had escaped in completely opposite directions, only to be transported back nearly simultaneously. Such a feat, Bloodshade Sovereign had only witnessed among certain venerables. Except, a venerable? No matter how inconceivable it seemed, Bloodshade Sovereign couldn't help but associate the towering giant with a Chaos Venerable, even though this immense figure had emerged from within the universe, a place theoretically capable of producing figures at most peak path-splitting realm. Bloodshade, not far away, Serpent Demon Sovereign's face was etched with fear, clearly realizing something as well. Were the two of you intending to plunder me? Just then a voice sounded nearby. Serpent Demon Sovereign and Bloodshade Sovereign abruptly looked over, spotting a figure standing not far away. This figure's aura was invisible, leaving the two utterly incapable of detecting it until now. Master. Bloodshade Sovereign immediately reacted and addressed Lin Yuan respectfully. I was merely passing by here, with absolutely no intention of plundering. Me too, Serpent Demon Sovereign quickly added. By now, how could they not understand that the figure nearby was precisely the towering giant who had just emerged from within the universe? In the Chaos Void, survival is the rule of the strong, and neither Bloodshade Sovereign nor Serpent Demon Sovereign could indulge their doubts and confusion when faced with a being like Lin Yuan, capable of crushing them effortlessly. Respect was instinctive. Passing through? No intention of plundering? S.E. the Novelier. N.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lin Yuan said indifferently, clearly disbelieving their claims. The Chaos Void was boundless. Two sovereign-level powerhouses conveniently stationed outside a universe on the verge of destruction. Passing through? Look at me. Lin Yuan directed his gaze at Serpent Demon Sovereign and Bloodshade Sovereign. The two sovereigns followed Lin Yuan's voice and looked up, only to meet a pair of incomparably profound eyes, seemingly connecting to an endless abyss. Mind will secret skills, abyssal eye. Hum. Bloodshade Sovereign and Serpent Demon Sovereign's minds and wills were struck, beginning to uncontrollably fall into descent. With Lin Yuan's strength, he could have outright pulverized the two sovereigns the moment he activated the divine ability world. But he ultimately chose capture instead and had been aiming precisely for this moment. Using the mind will secret skills abyssal eye, he drove their minds into descent before seizing the opportunity to initiate soul search on the two sovereigns. This was the simplest method. Direct soul search was far too challenging, as sovereigns were no fools. They'd resist furiously, and even if unsuccessful, they'd unhesitatingly self-detonate their physical forms. They'd then rely on prearranged resurrection techniques to come back to life. To any level of powerhouse, memory was the most sacred realm. Unless utterly desperate, no warrior would willingly allow someone to perform soul search. No, Bloodshade Sovereign's pupils suddenly turned crimson, his physical strength beginning to surge abnormally, managing to narrowly break free from Lin Yuan's suppression and dart madly in the opposite direction. Disrupted my soul search? Lin Yuan inwardly sighed. He was, after all, still a path-splitting realm being. Even though many of his techniques had reached Chaos Realm levels, attempting to perform soul search on a sovereign at peak level? It proved somewhat difficult. Forget it. Lin Yuan opted against continued efforts, instead extending his right hand. Across hundreds of light years he struck Bloodshade Sovereign remotely. In one slap, Lin Yuan employed the full force of his physical capabilities and the power of his internal cosmos. The might far exceeded peak sovereign levels. Bloodshade Sovereign's body erupted in countless flashes of crimson light, holding out for only an instant before completely shattering. His body and soul extinguished simultaneously. Crushed. Beside him, Serpent Demon Sovereign had likewise barely regained consciousness, fleeing frantically in the opposite direction. No matter how daunting Lin Yuan might appear, he was unwilling to risk soul search. The ability to perform soul search meant memories could be altered or tampered with. A fearsome technique every powerhouse remained deeply wary of. Smack. Lin Yuan struck again, and Serpent Demon Sovereign's body and soul likewise began to dissipate. The bodies and souls of both sovereigns dissolved over several breaths, transforming into the purest origin power, which Lin Yuan condensed and stored away. Masters, spare us. From the black ship and the suspended island came cries for mercy, Bloodshade Sovereigns and Serpent Demon Sovereigns subordinates pleading desperately. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1027 New Homeland, New Era. End of this volume. Asking for monthly pass. _2" spare you? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. These subordinates, who followed the two lords, were stationed outside the cosmos intending to plunder. Since they wanted to rob others, they naturally had to be prepared for being robbed themselves. Because Lin Yuan's own strength was formidable, Bloodshade Lord and Serpent Demon Lord fled without a second thought, looking seemingly innocent. But what if Lin Yuan had been merely an ordinary 12th-layer path-splitting realm cultivator? After painstaking efforts to barely survive the catastrophic collapse of the universe, one might have believed that a bright future awaited, only to be met with cruel plunderers. At that time, would these plunderers have had any shred of compassion for Lin Yuan? Lin Yuan's gaze swept across, utilizing the mind-will's secret skill, Abyssal Eye. Soul-searching Lord Realm experts proved somewhat difficult, but searching the souls of these path-splitting realm beings was relatively simple. Bloodshade Lord? Serpent Demon Lord? Lin Yuan immediately obtained intelligence on these two lords, a pair of notorious, domineering overlords. Despite their poor reputations, their strength was unfathomable. Even the Serpent Demon Lord possessed power nearing the peak of lordship. These treasures. After eliminating the numerous subordinates of the two lords, Lin Yuan began inventorying the loot. What he discovered slightly surprised him. The spoils of the two lords were overwhelming. Bloodshade Lord possessed two treasures from the Chaos Realm, one offensive and one defensive, along with other rare treasures. The total value exceeded 600,000 Chaos Stones. As for the Serpent Demon Lord, he too carried two Chaos Realm treasures, though his other valuables and curiosities were slightly less impressive. Altogether they were worth about 500,000 Chaos Stones. In total, the two Lord Realm experts had contributed treasures worth over 1,000,000 Chaos Stones. They were truly wealthy. Lin Yuan sighed slightly. Even a peak Lord Realm expert like Zhang Weiyang only had total assets worth around 300 to 400,000 Chaos Stones. Indeed, plundering is the simplest way to acquire resources, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Bloodshade Lord was a notorious raider, having pillaged numerous cosmoses before settling at his home cosmos. Coupled with his earlier accumulations, his wealth naturally surpassed that of Zhang Weiyang. The Serpent Demon Lord, though weaker, had also amassed riches through similar plundering methods, surpassing Zhang Weiyang in accumulated wealth. Resources for the perfected 12th-layer Lord Realm Shenhuang physique are nearly complete. After a brief calculation, Lin Yuan determined that the combined resources of the two lords, over 1,000,000 Chaos Stones, added to his existing holdings, were sufficient to cultivate the Shenhuang physique secret technique to its perfected Lord Realm. With Shenhuang physique reaching the perfected Lord Realm, Lin Yuan's physical strength would surge dramatically again, making the power behind his every movement even more terrifying. Moreover, the physical body nurtures the soul and the mind's will. Strengthening the body would greatly benefit the soul and mind's will. Unknowingly, I have become so powerful? Lin Yuan mused while organizing the spoils, putting away the black warship and floating island. When he first explored the Chaos Void, Even stumbling upon the remnants of a dwelling left by Lord Realm expert Song Weiyang required extreme caution and vigilance. And now how much time had passed? The Bloodshade Lord and Serpent Demon Lord, both at nearly the same level as Song Weiyang, could be suppressed by Lin Yuan with a mere flick of his hand. The stark contrast between then and now left Lin Yuan filled with emotion. These two lords, along with their peak path-splitting realm subordinates, haven't completely perished? Do they still possess life-saving contingencies? Lin Yuan briefly followed the trail of causal sensing. This was entirely expected. Let alone peak path-splitting realm beings, even those who had just entered the path-splitting realm could set up life-saving mechanisms. Why were Chaos Venerables notoriously hard to kill? It was because even great saints struggled to obliterate all of a Venerable's life-saving contingencies. Yet, through their profound understanding of causality, Chaos Venerables could effortlessly eliminate all life-saving measures of Lord Realm experts if they so desired. This was precisely why Lord Realm experts felt so fearful and submissive before Venerables. Within a fragment of an asteroid drifting in the chaos void, a figure swiftly condensed. It was Bloodshade Lord. In this fragmentary asteroid, he had left a life-saving contingency. Whenever his true body perished, he could resurrect here. I actually died at the hands of a venerable. Bloodshade Lord's heart sank, chilled to the core. He had no time to ponder why a venerable would emerge from within the universe. I'm going to die. Bloodshade Lord was utterly despairing. If a Chaos Venerable so wished, they could entirely erase all his resurrection mechanisms through causal connections. Thus, when Bloodshade Lord resurrected, he was already prepared for complete annihilation. Yet, after waiting in hopeless dread for half a day, Bloodshade Lord discovered he hadn't died. Could it be that the Venerable finds me beneath notice? Bloodshade Lord heaved a bitter sigh of relief. Erasing a Lord Realm expert's life-saving contingencies through causality was an onerous task, even for Chaos Venerables. Sar the novel undershare. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If no resentment was involved, Chaos Venerables typically didn't bother. Leave, immediately leave this void. Without hesitation, Bloodshade Lord bolted, flying away from Lin Yuan's position at great speed. The causal link between him and Lin Yuan would blur with increasing distance. To the Bloodshade Lord, he was nothing more than an ant before the Venerable. If the Venerable couldn't see him, they likely wouldn't bother acting. But if the causal proximity were too close, there was no guarantee Lin Yuan wouldn't suddenly decide to eliminate him out of convenience. Thus, to live longer, Bloodshade Lord could only keep away from Lin Yuan. Leave, I'll never again approach this void. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1028 New Homeland, New Era. End of this volume. Asking for monthly pass. _3 The Blood Resonance Sovereign's thoughts spread out, filled with both a sense of relief and fear. Chaos Void. Lin Yuan gazed quietly at his home universe. As complete annihilation unfolded, the entire universe abruptly collapsed inward, forming a dim gray sphere of energy. This energy sphere appeared fragile to the eye, but it was utterly indestructible in reality, protected by the operational rules of the Chaos Void. Not even the mightiest great saint could harm it in the slightest. It's time to head to the ancient Ming Chaos continent. After bidding farewell to his home universe on its final journey, Lin Yuan turned and left without hesitation. He had long prepared a new home for humanity on the ancient Ming Chaos continent. Now all that was left was to bring them there. Several months later, outside the ancient Ming Chaos continent, Lin Yuan's figure appeared. Finally arrived. Lin Yuan looked toward the distant and flourishing Chaos continent. The relocation of the ancient Ming Chaos continent to this void had, if anything, made trade even more prosperous, attracting numerous powerful beings from surrounding regions. Concealing his aura, Lin Yuan activated the 13th rank inheritance, Infinite Void, the ultimate foundational legacy. The universe within him was unparalleled. With just a single thought, he could suppress all his energy, making it impossible even for a Chaos Venerable to detect him. Lin Yuan entered the star tier fragment world. Swoosh. With a wave of his right hand, Lin Yuan released 9 supreme beings of humanity from the universe within his body. Where is this? The Shen Yuan Supreme cautiously surveyed the surroundings. Only after spotting Lin Yuan did he relax. Moments ago, they had been in Lin Yuan's internal universe, their anxiety palpable, fearing that their presence might interfere with Lin Yuan's navigation through the cosmic cataclysm. Now that they saw Lin Yuan again, their hearts finally settled. This is the new home of human civilization. Lin Yuan introduced with a smile, addressing the 9 supreme beings. A new home. The new home of human civilization? The Xianyuan Supreme, the Xiaqin Supreme, and the other 7 looked around with great interest. This place. The 9 supreme beings became increasingly impressed. Though the star-tier fragment world was far smaller than the main universe in size, every corner here was inhabitable. Even if the population of human civilization surged 10-fold or 100-fold, it would still accommodate them. I can sense that this world emanates a particularly gentle energy. The Xiaqin Supreme appeared thoughtful. While this gentle force held little value for those at the 12th Tao realm, and indeed for those at the 9th, 10th, or 11th ranks, it was immensely nourishing for 2nd and 3rd rank ascendants, especially newborn human citizens. Galaxy. This place must not have come cheap, the Xiaqin Supreme cautiously inquired. Over the past centuries, he had discussed the matter of humanity's new home with Lin Yuan and was aware of the star-tier fragment world's market price. As things stood, this star-tier fragment world, whether in terms of size or environment, was undoubtedly top-tier. Coupled with the fact that it lay within the formation-protected range of the ancient Ming Chaos continent, and under the protection of the ancient Ming Venerable, its price was surely exorbitant. Even the Xiaqin Supreme, with no deep understanding of market intricacies, knew that this star-tier fragment world cost far more than humanity's allocated budget. It's fine. Lin Yuan waved his hand casually, dismissing the concern. This fragment world had been acquired essentially for free. Lin Yuan naturally had no intention of demanding 1,200,000 chaos stones from the Xianyuan Supreme. After all, the ownership of the star-tier fragment world was registered entirely in his name as his private property. Setting aside a portion of it for humanity's citizens to reside in was a trivial matter. Since Lin Yuan did not clarify, the Xianyuan Supreme and the other 8 supreme beings of human civilization became more convinced that Lin Yuan had stretched his personal resources, believing he had purchased this fragment world through tireless scrimping, perhaps even incurring some level of debt. This star-tier fragment world. While humanity cannot afford it now, it must not remain unpaid for, nor can we inhabit it freely. The 9 of us 12th Tao realm practitioners only need to work diligently, steadily accumulating chaos stones bit by bit. If 1 cosmic era isn't enough, then 2 cosmic eras or 3. Exchanging glances, the Xianyuan Supreme and the other 8 supreme beings came to a silent agreement in their hearts. The debt humanity already owed Lin Yuan was immeasurable. Without him, the recent universal destruction would have spelled humanity's end. Not only had humanity avoided destruction, but Lin Yuan had also provided them with this near-perfect new home. The Xianyuan Supreme, for one, could not simply take this as Lin Yuan's responsibility. After conferring briefly with the 9 supreme beings, Lin Yuan began transferring an unending stream of citizens from his internal universe to the star-tier fragment world. So, this is the place we'll be living from now on? A 3rd-rank ascendant gazed around curiously. Compared to the sight of countless stars suspended in a cosmic void, this new world felt unified and filled with a soothing energy that uplifted the soul. Swoosh. More and more citizens of humanity emerged in the star-tier fragment world. At the same time, a swarm of intelligent machines descended, immediately beginning the physical labor necessary to rebuild human civilization. The star-tier fragment world, though naturally rich in resources, was still too primitive. It required careful adaptation to align with the modern lifestyle of human citizens. From a higher vantage point, Lin Yuan, the Xianyuan Supreme, and the Xiaqin Supreme watched the star-tier fragment world from afar. Countless intelligent machines and human citizens worked hand in hand, undertaking the fiery and fevered task of reconstruction. In a matter of months, we'll have transformed this place into a livable environment. By 6 months, everything should be running smoothly, and within 2 years the virtual network world will be fully integrated. By then, life here will be indistinguishable from life in the universe, the Feather Butterfly Supreme remarked. The reconstruction of human civilization had, in fact, already gone through numerous rehearsals. No major problems were anticipated. From now on, human civilization will take root in this world, the ancient Power Supreme said with a smile. Humanity is about to step into a new era, an era interconnected with the Chaos Void, the Void God Ultimate being added, standing nearby. Lin Yuan's face lit up with a gentle smile. A new home, a new era. The history of human civilization was entering an entirely new chapter. Sarch ** the Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The 261 million years of the Starry Sea era had finally become a thing of the past. P.S. 10,000 word update. Please send your monthly votes if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1029 A Simple Retreat. Vote for monthly ticket. In just 10 months, the fragmented world of Starlight Tears was completely transformed from top to bottom. Various futuristic and technologically advanced buildings sprang up, and the virtual world network was fully implemented. Throughout the process, everything proceeded smoothly. At the same time, internal trade within human civilization was re-established, even extending to trade routes with ancient Ming's Chaos continent. The countless human citizens of this new home felt that apart from the absence of a visible starry sky, their life here was no different from life within the vast universe. In fact, it was even better and more comfortable. This is the house allocated for me to live in? It's so spacious and it's completely free? Our new home is managed by the government, which allocates housing, jobs, medical services, and education. It's incredible. Yes, honestly, I thought migrating to a new home would mean starting from scratch and living a difficult life. The citizens settling into the fragmented world of Starlight Tears adapted quickly, primarily because the benefits and welfare not only remained, but were significantly improved. And more crucially, my son was just born and he has evolutionary talents. He'll become an evolver in the future. My daughter does as well. All of yours? My grandson's test results showed his evolutionary talents are pretty good too. The world of Starlight Tears was imbued with a gentle force unique to its fragmented world, greatly benefiting the process of life creation, including but not limited to enhancing the potential of newborns and extending lifespans. In the universe, countless citizens are required to produce even one individual with evolutionary talent, but here, in this fragmented world, almost every newborn carried such talents to varying degrees. The emergence of vast numbers of foundational evolvers increased the probability of mid-level and high-level evolvers being born, thus creating a virtuous cycle where the development of human civilization would far outpace that within the universe. The newly established core of human civilization. Lin Yuan was discussing with 9 ultimate beings how to deal with those aliens who had entirely pledged themselves to human civilization. Under the universal cataclysm, many aliens who hadn't been integrated into their respective 12 layers inner universe opted to fully surrender to human civilization in a desperate bid for survival. These aliens fought against human civilization for so many years. What should we do with them now? Asked the Void God Ultimate Being. In my opinion, we should just sell them. If I remember correctly, ancient Ming's Chaos continent has a demand for this, the ancient power supreme being spoke bluntly. He harbored little goodwill toward these aliens. Were it not for Lin Yuan, he wouldn't have bothered saving them at all. See the novel, F.I.R. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. They're all lifeforms below 12 layers. Even if sold to merchants, they wouldn't fetch much, the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being remarked. Why not cultivate them instead to make them an asset for human civilization? Right now, in this chaos void, our civilization is still weak. We need to pool all resources for development. The various peak ethnic groups across the universe, having engaged in prolonged conflict with human civilization, undoubtedly possess strengths worth leveraging. Added to that was their mutual familiarity, making them relatively convenient to utilize. That could work. However, the resources allocated for their development should be limited. I wouldn't want to see these aliens regain their strength and oppose us again in the future. Regain their strength? With the galaxy in play, what could they use to stage a resurgence? True. Still, even so, restrictions are necessary. The 9 ultimate beings quickly reached a consensus. The plan was to allocate certain resources to these aliens, aiding their development and ultimately fostering the collective progression of human civilization. Different peak ethnic groups possessed unique advantages. Take the insect race, for example, the most fiercely combative alien race against human civilization. Their queens could birth countless insect race warriors, who could easily serve as expendable forces for exploring dangerous regions. As for deploying intelligent machines for exploration, Chaos Void's numerous perilous areas often disrupted machines, causing malfunctions. Of course, any cultivation efforts by human civilization would be limited purely to the new generation of aliens. The older generation of alien strong ones remained tightly restricted. Galaxy, How do you plan to handle those 12 layers once? The Shenyuan Supreme looked curiously toward Lin Yuan for answers. Them? Lin Yuan smiled faintly. They've all already been bound with prohibitions. Let's leave it for later. Bringing these 12 layers aliens out was a decision Lin Yuan made casually. Even without doing so, the universal origin source consciousness would have done everything to obstruct him anyway. Besides, bringing these 12 layers aliens with him also served to prevent any leakage of information about him. Lin Yuan's growth speed within the universe was astonishing even by Chaos Void standards. These 12 layers aliens knew too much, and letting them go with loose tongues would pose a security risk. Speaking of which, there's one more matter. The Shenyuan Supreme smiled and said, I remember Galaxy mentioning that within ancient Ming's Chaos Continent, there's a place specializing in the trade of 12 layers evolutionary pathways? Indeed, Lin Yuan nodded. When Lin Yuan had first arrived at ancient Ming's Chaos Continent, he learned of this. The 10,000 Paths Pavilion offered desired 12 layers evolutionary pathways. The 10,000 Paths Pavilion ensured that these 12 layers pathways were unobstructed by ultimate existences, allowing unhindered progress. Its background was unfathomably vast. Even the pavilion in ancient Ming's Chaos Continent was merely a branch, and its influence spanned multiple Chaos Continents. We're planning to purchase several 12 layers evolutionary pathways. The Shenyuan Supreme exchanged looks with the other 8 ultimate beings, revealing their plans. Purchase 12 layers evolutionary pathways? Lin Yuan speculated on their rationale. Numerous human civilization evolvers entering Chaos Void gradually transitioned their life essence into the mainstream timelines of Chaos Void. With the environmental ceiling raised, many 11th level perfected evolvers were gearing up to make their ultimate leaps, attempting to step into 12 layers. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1030 A Simple Retreat, Asking for Monthly Votes, _2 Actually, the difficulty of reaching the ultimate evolution and crossing into the 12th tier in the Chaos Void is lower than crossing into the 12th tier within the universe. The time river of the Chaos Void has little backlash against life forms attempting ultimate evolution, greatly increasing the likelihood of success. This is precisely the reason. The 9 supreme beings of human civilization have considered this possibility. So far, human civilization's existing 12th tier evolutionary path is singular, but cultivating along this path is extremely troublesome. More 12th tier evolutionary paths need to be developed. Understood. SAR the Novel Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lin Yuan nodded, keeping this matter close to heart. When the time comes, you, Galaxy, will help us purchase the necessary items. The expenses will come out of the human civilization treasury. The Shenyuan Supreme said. As for why they did not purchase the items themselves, the 9 supreme beings of human civilization are far less discerning and insightful than Lin Yuan, unable to properly evaluate the strengths and drawbacks of a true 12th tier evolutionary path. Thus they entrusted Lin Yuan with this task. Rather than risk choosing wrongly themselves and regretting it, it's better to leave the judgment and decisions to Lin Yuan. This is not urgent. You can do it whenever you deem fit, Galaxy. The Shenyuan Supreme said in a relaxed tone. Even in the Chaos Void, matters concerning ultimate evolution carry great importance. Waiting thousands or tens of thousands of years is entirely normal. At the deepest point of the fragment world of star tiers, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. This fragment world was first purchased as Lin Yuan's private cultivation abode. Only secondarily did it become the new home for human civilization. Naturally, Lin Yuan held the highest level of authority here. Martial Arts Evolution Road. Lin Yuan examined himself as well as the path he had traversed in the past. So far, the Martial Tao Evolution Road had been developed up to the 12th tier, Opening the Path chapter. As for the Domination chapter, it was still being refined and had not yet been fully established. However, this time Lin Yuan went into solitary cultivation not to continue perfecting the Domination chapter but to attempt an expansion of the breadth of the Martial Arts Evolution Road. Precisely speaking, it was to establish several branching paths for the Martial Arts Evolution Road. Each of these branches would independently constitute a 12th tier path, yet all would take Martial Tao as the foundation and extend into distinct directions. The Great Tao is endless. Even the same Tao is not fixed. It can diverge into numerous branches, all leading to the same destination. Lin Yuan contemplated inwardly, with reflections upon martial Tao constantly emerging in his mind. Establishing new branches for martial Tao was an idea Lin Yuan had conceived ever since crossing into the 12th tier. It was just that he had never had the time to actualize it. Under the pressures of universal catastrophe, everything Lin Yuan had focused on over the past centuries was directed at the most immediate ways of enhancing his own foundation and combat strength. As for branching martial Tao, it had no immediate effect on his martial Tao cultivation or on himself. Thus, it hadn't been on Lin Yuan's priority list of must-do tasks. Now that a new home for human civilization had been found and all matters were proceeding systematically, Lin Yuan was able to rest briefly and begin considering this matter. Branching the martial Tao road may indeed have little short-term impact, but over a longer timeline, its significance would become immense and simply impossible to overlook. Even crossing into the 12th tier via different branches, the essence would still be rooted in the martial Tao evolution road, allowing Lin Yuan to reap the myriad benefits that arise from establishing branching paths and creating more 12th tier beings. During ultimate evolution, countless cultivators of martial Tao evolution road called out to Lin Yuan from the depths of the void, ensuring his spiritual will did not collapse, ultimately enabling him to easily pass through the heart demon world born from the primary tributary of the Time River. And this anchor point effect is certainly not confined to ultimate evolution. Perhaps one day when Lin Yuan's true form, avatars and manifestations have all perished, even when his consciousness in the source world has fallen. If his spirit sinks into boundless darkness and remains trapped within death, these calls will still reverberate, helping Lin Yuan lock onto anchor points and forcefully return. The wider-reaching cultivation of martial Tao evolution road by living beings, and the greater number of strong practitioners arising from it, will only amplify these calls, rendering them irresistible, even transcending space and time itself. In fact, the martial Tao I established has long laid the groundwork for numerous branching paths. Lin Yuan meditated cross-legged, flashes of inspiration continually bursting in his mind. Starting from the second layer of martial Tao, differentiation within martial Tao had already begun. Lin Yuan used Yin-Yang Taiji as the core of his own martial Tao foundation, while other martial Tao cultivators might choose entirely different cores for their martial Tao foundation. For instance, martial arts evolutionaries adept at the power of gold could readily use golden power as the basis of their martial Tao foundation. By the time they reach the 5th layer, evolving golden power into the golden primordial spirit, which would ultimately grant insight into the golden rules. And so on. Starting from the 2nd layer of martial Tao, it encompassed all things, with countless paths accessible within the martial Tao cultivation system. From the 2nd to 11th layer of martial Tao, martial arts evolutionaries had long chosen specialties, following the paths Lin Yuan had carved forward. I created the 12th tier martial Tao based on Taiji Yin and Yang as its root, but other martial Tao cultivators can absolutely base their pathways on their own choices to achieve their 12th tier. Lin Yuan's eyes shone brightly with vigor. In this way, the potential of martial Tao would grow to unprecedented levels, theoretically allowing it to branch indefinitely and give rise to countless martial Tao 12th tier practitioners. First, I will establish the simplest martial Tao 5 elements branches. Lin Yuan began to delve into deeper insights. The first would be the branch of gold. Gold signifies sharpness and cutting edge, shattering all barriers. This martial Tao branch, though somewhat extreme, was more than sufficient to ascend to the 12th tier. Your unparalleled insight enables you to newly establish and perfect the martial Tao evolution road, completing the metal martial arts branch. Your unparalleled insight enables you to newly establish and perfect the martial Tao evolution road, completing the wood martial arts branch. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1031A Simple Retreat, Seeking Monthly Tickets, _3, Your perception defies the heavens, recomprehending the evolution pathway of the martial Tao, perfecting the water martial arts. Most of Lin Yuan's mind was focused on this, and the perfection and development of various branches of the martial Tao had a great impact on him. As the ancestor of martial arts, even if he hadn't traversed these paths, he could wield them as if they were an extension of his arm. If these branches are perfected using the power of the 5 elements of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, their potential will undoubtedly be great. Lin Yuan thought. The rotation of the 5 elements is almost flawless, and it balances destruction and creation. But wanting to comprehend gold, wood, water, fire, and earth and master these 5 forces at the 2nd layer? Condensing the 5 elements primordial spirit at the 5th layer? The difficulty is too high. If it were within the universe, Lin Yuan even doubted whether such a genius existed, but in the chaos void? With the bloodlines of various spectacular life forms rampant, and with many monstrous talents, there is still hope of traversing this path. Those who step into the 12th level of martial Tao through the 5 elements martial arts, their combat power, upon initially entering the path-splitting realm, would likely be close to its peak. Of course, this path is very difficult, requiring not only the comprehension of the 5 elements at the 2nd layer but also the cultivation of the 5 elements primordial spirit, the 5 elements rules, and so on. Lin Yuan earnestly perfected the branch path of the 5 elements martial arts, not minding what future 5 elements martial arts cultivators might pose as a threat to him. Firstly, with Lin Yuan's innate talent and aptitude on the same level of cultivation, he believes no life could compare to him. Even more so with those who come after? While they take one step, Lin Yuan would have already moved 100 steps forward. How can there be any comparison? Moreover, Lin Yuan's combat power and foundation are not limited to martial Tao alone, even if there are martial cultivators who break the ironclad rules and also tread the yin-yang taiji path. In the same realm they would still be crushed by Lin Yuan. The same path, but is the cosmic foundation within the body the same? Lin Yuan's path-splitting realm internal universe is on par with the chaos venerable. There are countless rules comprehended, secret techniques, and so on. There's simply no competition. More crucially, as the ancestor of martial arts and the founder of this great Tao of martial arts, Lin Yuan inherently wields an indescribable, unstoppable overcoming power against those who follow in the martial Tao. Just like a mouse meeting a cat, it is naturally suppressed to death. For example, from the perspective of potential, the 5 elements martial arts, the cycle of the 5 elements is not much inferior to the yin-yang taiji. But with all other external conditions identical, like realm strength, inner world, numerous rule insights, secret techniques, divine skills, and so on being equal, the 5 elements martial arts evolutionary would still be crushed by Lin Yuan. The reason for being crushed here is that in front of Lin Yuan, the martial arts cultivator's full strength cannot be brought out, being innately suppressed and constrained. In equal strength, even if the opponent is stronger than Lin Yuan, as long as they are based on martial Tao, branching into endless paths, they would be thoroughly suppressed by Lin Yuan, without any power to resist. Space martial arts. Lin Yuan began to develop and perfect the corresponding branch of martial arts based on space. Compared to the smooth development of various martial arts branches previously, Lin Yuan clearly encountered bottleneck difficulties in perfecting space martial arts. If one were to develop a martial arts branch based on space? Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, lost in thought. Space is too vast, yet also too flimsy. Lin Yuan thought to himself, and there was another point he hadn't mentioned, which was that the difficulty is too high. To base it on space means mastering the power of space at the 2nd layer of martial Tao. A 2nd layer martial arts evolutionary who hasn't even fully grasped and developed the power of their physical body and soul, let alone comprehend and master the power of space? As for condensing the space primordial spirit at the 5th layer, it requires a certain level of understanding of space power, otherwise how could one control the power of space to condense the space primordial spirit? Space martial arts will be temporarily shelved, there's no need to develop it. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly, mainly because the threshold for this martial arts branch is too high. The life forms that can master the power of space at the 2nd layer must have a certain pure space bloodline. Such beings are too rare. Simply put, the general accessibility of space martial arts is not high, far from being as simple and introductory as ordinary metal martial arts or water martial arts. Time martial arts? Lin Yuan began to experiment with more. Compared to space martial arts, the difficulty of time martial arts soared another level, and Lin Yuan had no intention of perfecting this branch. He's merely pondering the deeper essence of martial Tao through this martial arts branch. Space martial arts, time martial arts, then what about space-time martial arts? Lin Yuan's interest was piqued as time and space began to intertwine before him. With space-time as the foundation, the potential of the martial arts branch extended from this is vast, but this martial arts path is almost impossible to even get started. Space-time. Lin Yuan pondered the feasibility of space-time martial arts and the application of space-time, and his thoughts immediately shifted from martial arts to space-time. Suddenly, countless accumulated insights into space-time erupted explosively. Thousands of years of space-time comprehension in the main universe, SEA the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. clear observation of spacetime fluctuations within the source world, and after entering the chaos void, sensing the vast spacetime of the boundless chaos void, your perception defies the heavens, penetrating analogy, reaching the eightfold realm in spacetime comprehension. In an instant, the vast spacetime of the chaos void began to slowly clear up before Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked down, with the vast ancient Ming chaos continent fully in view, and even Lin Yuan's gaze faintly looked toward the deepest part of the ancient Ming chaos continent, where a chaotic aura figure was in closed cultivation. Is it the ancient Ming venerable? Lin Yuan's expression was contemplative, and he immediately stopped paying attention. With the perception of a chaos venerable, continuing to watch is highly likely to be noticed. What an unexpected delight. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. I didn't expect that in this retreat to perfect and develop martial arts branches, I would end up comprehending the eightfold realm of spacetime? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1032 10,000 Laws and Paths, Requesting Monthly Tickets. Deep within the chaos continent of ancient Ming. Who is spying on me? Ancient Ming Venerable opened his eyes, his expression flickering with astonishment. It must be some passing venerable. Ancient Ming Venerable immediately sensed the prying gaze retreating swiftly, and speculated inwardly. To be able to see through the layers of formations within the chaos continent and locate the place where he was in closed-door training, the opponent's mastery of spacetime must at least be at the 8th realm. Just arrived in this void and perhaps piqued the curiosity of nearby venerables who came to investigate? Ancient Ming Venerable speculated inwardly. The comprehension of the 8th realm of spacetime already belongs to the domain of seasoned Chaos Venerables. Ordinary newly advanced Chaos Venerables still remain at the peak of the 7th realm in spacetime mastery. Fragment World of Star Tier. Lin Yuan was using the insights of the 8th realm of spacetime, constantly observing the spacetime around him. Whether it is the distance traveled through the void or the mastery of spacetime, both have improved significantly. Lin Yuan marveled inwardly, with the primary takeaway being that, in the future when facing enemies at the venerable level, he would no longer be suppressed in the spacetime domain. Mastery in the realm of spacetime was akin to having the initiative, offense or retreat could be controlled. I wonder what the 9th realm of spacetime would be like. Lin Yuan wondered silently. The 8th realm of spacetime is a level only accessible to Chaos Venerables, while the 9th realm belongs to the domain of Chaos Great Saints or even Peerless Great Saints. As a Peerless Great Saint, Xianhuang has the power to open 33,333 Xianhuang secret realms scattered across different universes, primarily relying on the peak comprehension of the 9th realm of spacetime. This session of closed-door training can be considered finished. Lin Yuan gathered his thoughts. Despite reaching the 8th realm in spacetime mastery, he felt no trace of arrogance. The insight of the 8th realm only allowed him to face Chaos Venerables with ease. But what if it was a Chaos Great Saint? Lin Yuan still vividly remembered the obliteration of his home universe in the aftermath of the battle between the Shadow Demon Great Saint and the 9 Phoenix Great Saint. Search * the novel Fire, net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. From beginning to end, he hadn't even seen traces of the 2 great saints themselves. The residual power fluctuations from their clash alone sufficed to erase everything, instilling in Lin Yuan a deep sense of helplessness. With my current foundation, if I were to ascend into the Master Realm, even if I still wouldn't be able to rival a great saint, I would at least have some degree of self-preservation, wouldn't I? No longer an ant that could be casually crushed by a great saint? Lin Yuan speculated inwardly. The leap from the path-splitting realm to the Master Realm is a major cross-tier progression within the 12 layers of cultivation, marking a qualitative transformation in combat power. For Lin Yuan, the same principle applies. At that point, the infinite void and other subsequent realms could continue to be cultivated. The Master Realm. It's close. Lin Yuan felt the distance between his physical body and soul nearing their peak, silently pondering to himself. This session of closed-door training, achieving the insight of the 8th realm of spacetime, can be considered an unexpected fortune. Lin Yuan's mind surfaced with the many martial Tao subpaths he had just opened and perfected, 73 martial Tao subpaths in total. Theoretically, these 73 subpaths can each lead to the 12th layer. Lin Yuan felt quite pleased inwardly. The more martial Tao subpaths, the wider the scope of the martial Tao itself. If it weren't for the vastness, how could so many paths be established? The muddy small paths, no matter how they are extended, could never become a grand avenue leading to transcendence. Those people from Xuanyuan's side asked me to buy some 12th layer evolution paths. Why would I need to buy them? Aren't they already readily available? Lin Yuan's face showed a faint smile. 73 martial Tao subpaths leading directly to the 12th layer were more than sufficient for human civilization to use for countless years to come. Actually, if I continued the closed-door training, I could further perfect and forge more martial Tao subpaths. But there's no need to do so. Lin Yuan thought inwardly. The core of martial Tao's evolution lies in the fundamental avenue. Once the pathway of many subpaths is opened, various subpaths will continuously emerge. Lin Yuan merely needed to guide them along the way. Once you master is looking for me? Lin Yuan's expression shifted slightly, immediately dividing off an incarnation to leave the fragment world of Star Tier and head toward the chaos continent of ancient Ming. In Mingchuan City, within a pavilion, Lin Yuan and Wansu Master sat facing each other. Galaxy brother, I did not fail you. Wansu Master smiled and said while looking at Lin Yuan. Since ancient Ming Venerable personally issued the order last time to nearly give away the fragment world of Star Tier to Lin Yuan, Wansu Master realized that Lin Yuan's origins might be deeply terrifying. Later on, Wansu Master sought an audience with ancient Ming Venerable, intending to probe into Lin Yuan's background. In the end, ancient Ming Venerable only left him with one warning. If you offend Galaxy, the entire Chaos Continent will be annihilated. Wansu Master still remembered clearly the expression ancient Ming Venerable had when he made that statement, filled with boundless dread and fear. It was precisely because of this that Wansu Master had been fulfilling all of Lin Yuan's requests during this time. Haha, many thanks. Lin Yuan said cheerfully. Not long ago he had requested Wansu Master to help sell 18 Master Realm level extraordinary trees obtained from Song Weiyang Sr., hoping to exchange them for specific cultivation resources or chaos stones. These 18 extraordinary trees bore spirit fruits periodically and were tantamount to money trees for a force, with the potential for continued inheritance. But for Lin Yuan they were somewhat redundant. The fruiting cycle of the 18 extraordinary trees started at a minimum of 1 million years, and within that time frame, considering Lin Yuan's rate of growth, by the next million years, he might very well have already ascended to the Chaos Realm. From the perspective of a Chaos Venerable, the 18 extraordinary trees were insignificant, let alone the spirit fruits they bore. These 18 extraordinary trees weren't the world tree nurtured by Lin Yuan's inner universe, which has the effect of stabilizing his inner cosmos. And their potential is quite high, having the capability to grow into chaos trees. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1033 The Myriad Laws and Paths Seeking Monthly Pass. _2 So Lin Yuan had stayed until now. The greatest use of these 18 unique trees for Lin Yuan was to comprehend the technique of absorbing and expelling chaos chi through them. These are the resource materials needed by Galaxy, and I exchanged them effortlessly. Wansu Dominator waved his hand and a purple cloth bag appeared before him, clearly a storage treasure, containing the resource materials Lin Yuan required. In truth, he didn't make any profit in this transaction and even suffered a slight loss. But as long as he could establish good relations with Lin Yuan, according to ancient Ming Venerable's instructions, no cost was too high. Lin Yuan received the purple cloth bag, extended his mental energy to scan its contents briefly, and then put it away with satisfaction. By the way, I'd like to ask you about something. Lin Yuan said. What asking? Galaxy, just say what you want to know. Wansu Dominator immediately replied. What is the origin of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion? Lin Yuan inquired. The intelligence left behind by the elder Song Weiyang regarding the 10,000 Paths Pavilion was somewhat vague. After all, elder Song Weiyang was merely at the peak of the Dominator realm. But Wansu Dominator, while also at the peak of the Dominator realm, was a disciple of Chaos Venerable and had been handling affairs related to the fragmented worlds of ancient Ming's Chaos Continent for many years. In terms of access to inside information, he was undoubtedly far more resourceful than the solitary entity Song Weiyang. In addition, the lineage of Shen Huang had some understanding of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion, but the information was so ancient that it likely couldn't match what a Venerable's disciple might know. The 10,000 Paths Pavilion? Wansu Dominator was mildly startled. Galaxy, are you curious about the 10,000 Paths Pavilion? Somewhat. Sir, the novel undersphere. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lin Yuan admitted frankly. A faction that thrived on trading evolution pathways surely had a significant origin, but he wanted to learn more about its specifics. The 10,000 Paths Pavilion, its full name is Myriad Laws and Paths Pavilion, earns its livelihood through the trade of evolution pathways. Whether you want to buy or sell evolution pathways, you can do so through the 10,000 Paths Pavilion. Wuxia Dominator's tone became considerably heavier as he continued, but one thing, never cause trouble at the 10,000 Paths Pavilion. Otherwise even Master may not be able to save you. Even a venerable couldn't save someone? Lin Yuan was slightly stunned. This Chaos Continent was Ancient Ming Venerable's domain. Ancient Ming Venerable was the sole heaven here? Could it be that even Ancient Ming Venerable couldn't rescue someone causing trouble at the 10,000 Paths Pavilion? That's right. Wuxia Dominator nodded. What we see as the 10,000 Paths Pavilion are merely branch pavilions. As for the main pavilion of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion, no one knows where it is located, hidden in the mysterious recesses of the Chaos Void, accessible only to invited distinguished guests. And within every branch pavilion of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion exists a projection of the Eye of Myriad Laws. The Eye of Myriad Laws is the true overseer of the 10,000 Paths Tower. It is supremely impartial and incorruptible. Normally, the projection of the Eye of Myriad Laws remains dormant, only activated when validating an ambiguous evolution pathway. Wuxia Dominator glanced at Lin Yuan and lowered his voice. Even a mere projection of the Eye of Myriad Laws is enough to make a Chaos Great Saint wary. A projection? Lin Yuan was secretly alarmed. Merely a projection held such power. Xuanhuang's conjecture about the 10,000 Paths Pavilion, suspected to be the contingency plan of a 13th layer time life being, likely had some truth. In planning to disseminate evolution pathway routes. Can the 10,000 Paths Pavilion assist in that process? Lin Yuan revealed his true intent. After establishing numerous branches of the Martial Tao evolution pathway, Lin Yuan once again placed the dissemination of the Martial Tao evolution pathway onto his agenda. And the inheritance of Martial Tao evolution pathways naturally wouldn't be limited to the confines of human civilization. Lin Yuan hoped for the Martial Tao evolution pathways to be spread throughout the Chaos Void, across numerous chaotic continents. As long as your evolution pathways meet the criteria of the Eye of Myriad Laws, you can use the 10,000 Paths Pavilion to disseminate them. Wuxia Dominator shook his head and said, though that's extremely hard to achieve. Evolution pathways that the 10,000 Paths Pavilion actively disseminates are exceedingly rare. Understood. Lin Yuan nodded. After chatting briefly with Wuxia Dominator, Lin Yuan rose and took his leave. In the fragmented worlds of star tiers, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, with a purple cloth bag hovering before him, containing the resource materials acquired from selling 13 unique trees. Song Weiyang Elder. Lin Yuan's mind conjured the image of a rounded figure, the imprint he had once found in the dwelling left by Song Weiyang. The Myriad Manifestations Void Domain. Stone People Tribe. Back then the imprint of Song Weiyang Elder had freely given all treasures to Lin Yuan, leaving only one request. That was, if Lin Yuan had the capability in the future, to visit the Myriad Manifestations Void Domain and take a disciple from the Stone People Tribe. This request was optional for Lin Yuan. Song Weiyang hadn't imposed any obligations, leaving it entirely up to Lin Yuan's discretion. The Myriad Manifestations Void Domain should be in that direction. Lin Yuan glanced in a certain direction, contemplating. The Chaos Void was suffused with endless Chaos Qi, sometimes thick, sometimes thin. Regions with thick Chaos Qi were favorable for cultivation and thus labeled Void Domains. As for regions with thin Chaos Qi, they supported far fewer permanent lifeforms and were collectively termed Desolate Zones. Lin Yuan currently resided in the Divine Wind Void Domain. The Myriad Manifestations Void Domain was not far from the Divine Wind Void Domain, separated by only 2 or 3 void domains. Normally, a Dominator Realm expert, flying continuously for several decades, could traverse one void domain. The Stone People Tribe? Lin Yuan mused. The Stone People Tribe was the very group to which Elder Song Weiyang belonged. Back then, Elder Song Weiyang had left his tribe to roam various void domains, eventually ascending to the Dominator Realm and reaching its peak. Elder Song Weiyang's reason for making this request likely stemmed from concerns that his tribe might face extinction after his demise. According to Elder Song Weiyang, the Stone People Tribe was rather weak, with only 4 or 5 path-splitting realm members besides himself. Fine, I'll dispatch an avatar to visit the myriad manifestations void domain. Lin Yuan's thoughts stirred, and in the chaos void outside ancient Ming's chaos continent, chaos chi converged into a figure, swiftly heading toward the myriad manifestations void domain. After reaching the 8th realm of spacetime mastery, Lin Yuan's control over the distance his avatar could maintain had vastly improved. Covering the distance between 2 or 3 void domains, or even 20 or 30 void domains, was easily achievable. The insights of the 8th realm of spacetime, a level only attainable by one's own venerable, had enabled this breakthrough. Dispatching an avatar to fulfill Elder Tsang Weiyang's request was a mere triviality for Lin Yuan. Although Elder Tsang Weiyang hadn't imposed any restrictions, Lin Yuan had no desire to exploit this opportunity for personal gain. After all, the many treasures and weapons left behind by Elder Tsang Weiyang had served as Lin Yuan's first pot of gold in exploring the Chaos Void, providing invaluable assistance. Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't ignore this. Of course, the most crucial point was that fulfilling Elder Tsang Weiyang's request was an easy task, merely taking on a disciple from the Stone People tribe, not safeguarding them for countless years. Lin Yuan's avatar could complete the task quickly, and with the 8th realm of spacetime mastery's speed, it wouldn't take much time. Have Shen Yuan and the others already arrived? Lin Yuan's expression shifted as he sensed Shen Yuan Supreme and 8 other Supremes waiting outside. Putting the purple cloth bag away, Lin Yuan stood and stepped out. Galaxy. Shen Yuan Supreme and the 8 other Supremes looked at Lin Yuan excitedly. You summoned us. Does it mean you've already acquired suitable evolution pathways? Not quite. Lin Yuan shook his head, but it's close. Not quite. Close. Shen Yuan Supreme's expression showed confusion. Those were entirely contradictory statements. Let me show you something. Lin Yuan transmitted the details of the martial Tao evolution pathways with numerous newly developed branches to the 9 Supremes via the virtual world network. What is it? Shen Yuan Supreme looked somewhat expectant. Anything Lin Yuan specifically introduced was bound to be extraordinary. Soon enough, the 9 Supremes had received the martial Tao evolution pathways Lin Yuan shared. Galaxy, isn't this the martial Tao evolution pathway you established? The nearby Ancient Power Supreme had barely scanned the information when he began to speak, but then his expression shifted slightly. Ancient Power Supreme carefully reviewed the material, then fixed a solemn gaze on Lin Yuan, his tone betraying disbelief. Is this a martial Tao evolution pathway? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1034 Global Conflict, Vote for Monthly Pass. This is indeed an evolution pathway for the martial Tao. The Shen Yuan Supreme being standing nearby also read it over several times. Then with a solemn tone he said, however, it is rooted in thunder. I can sense that this thunder martial path has not yet reached the ultimate 12th tier foundation. An evolution pathway signifies a cultivation road. Any 12th tier existence can determine, by careful observation, whether a particular evolution pathway has been cultivated by a 12th tier being. Yet, right now, this Thunder Martial Path evolution pathway is extremely similar to the one pursued by Lin Yuan's Martial Tao evolution pathway, but it doesn't seem to have a 12th tier cultivator? That's correct. This evolution pathway happens to be a side branch of the Martial Tao I've personally developed and refined, and it absolutely has the potential to give rise to new 12th tiers, Lin Yuan said. Incredible. The Ancient Power Supreme Being could barely believe it. They had heard before that some extraordinarily vast evolution roads could allow concurrent side branches to coexist, and each could foster new 12th tiers. But such evolution roads are exceptionally rare, requiring extremity in every aspect. Roots and accumulations must reach the utmost limits. Otherwise, if the foundation is inadequate, how can it accommodate additional evolutionary branches? Additionally, these branches must align perfectly with the incredibly dark chaos void and the operating rules and principles of its Tao. Yet, no matter how ideal, if it is not compatible with the Tao of the chaos void, it cannot spawn new branches. It seems that we underestimated the martial Tao in our assessments back then. The Xiaqin Supreme Being finished reading as well, equally overwhelmed with shock. He could sense that this Thunder Martial Path, even if it were only a side branch of the true martial Tao, already holds greater potential than the 12th tier evolution pathway he had cultivated. See Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If a side branch holds such potential, what of the main trunk? Indeed. The Xinyuan Supreme Being nodded. An evolution pathway capable of spawning new branches inherently possesses the potential to transcend into a 13th tier universal Dao. Whether branches can emerge is indiscernible below the 12th tier, Lin Yuan said, shaking his head slightly. It's not something to blame upon the 9 human supreme beings. Even for a chaos venerable, merely examining the martial Tao evolution pathway from the 1st tier chapter to the 11th tier chapter, it's almost impossible to determine whether the martial Tao can give rise to branches. Lin Yuan, are you planning to unveil this thunder martial path to the galaxy's population? Yudi Supreme Being probed cautiously. Yes. Lin Yuan nodded. He also longed for the thunder martial path to foster a 12th tier existence. The roots of a great tree do not lie in its towering height or thickness but in the countless intertwined tendrils beneath the surface. The more strong cultivators there are on the martial Tao branches, the more they will nurture and enrich the martial Tao itself. That's fantastic. With this, the human civilization gains the equivalent of another 12th tier evolution pathway, Yudi Supreme Being remarked with some satisfaction. Although the Chaos Void might offer purchasable 12th tier evolution pathways, how could any compare to the reliability of this thunder martial path? It's a pity I haven't walked the path of thunder, otherwise I might have directly transitioned to this evolutionary road, the ancient power Supreme Being sighed heavily. In the universe, any cultivator who has chosen their evolution road, once they reach the 6th tier, finds it exceedingly difficult to shift to another road. But that limitation applies only to evolution practitioners below the 12th tier. For a 12th tier being, wanting to switch to another road simply requires scattering one's Tao. That is, dispersing the cultivated Tao they had established. Of course, no 12th tier being would casually scatter their Tao. The risk is immense. A 12th tier life form who disperses their cultivated Tao remains with a 12th tier level of vitality and soul, but without a foundational road, their combat power diminishes to less than 1%, perhaps even to thousands. Moreover, cultivating another evolutionary road to reach the 12th tier would also demand an immense amount of time. Thus, unless they fall upon an evolutionary road extremely suited to them, no 12th tier existence would willingly scatter their Tao. Even if they did encounter a perfect evolution road, when making the decision to scatter the Tao, they must be extraordinarily cautious. If an enemy were to strike during the dispersal process, the consequences would be disastrous. Actually, this branch is quite appropriate for you, ancient power, Lin Yuan said with a slight smile, transmitting the refined martial path of force to the ancient power Supreme Being. Lin Yuan had awakened the physical body divine ability mountain lifting early on and held profound insights into the rule of force, naturally allowing the martial Tao to extend into a martial path of force tied to force rules. This branch. The ancient power Supreme Being was slightly dazed. Was there another branch besides the thunder martial path? But in the next moment, the ancient power Supreme Being froze, as all the intricate aspects of the martial path of force poured into his mind. The ancient power Supreme Being was dumbstruck, muttering to himself, I never imagined the path of force could be pursued this way, could be guided in this manner. His eyes gleamed brightly. The way of force isn't merely pure strength. It involves dimensions like time and space. If I had embarked on this cultivation path earlier, I'd likely be nearing the pinnacle of the path-splitting realm now. The ancient power Supreme Being was humanity's second Supreme Being to emerge, a contemporary alongside the Xinyuan Supreme Being. All roads lead to the same destination. To step into the chaos realm, one must encompass myriad rules and ultimately gestate chaos rules, Lin Yuan said. While he secluded himself to refine and extend the martial Tao's major branches, Lin Yuan had naturally prioritized considering the evolutionary pathways followed by humanity's 9 supreme beings. For instance, the ancient power Supreme Being's path of force, Yudi Supreme Being's dream Tao path, Xiaqin Supreme Being's dark Tao path, all 9 supreme beings' cultivation paths were encompassed within the branches of the martial Tao. This martial path of force certainly surpasses the evolution pathway ancient power cultivates. It also better suits you, the Xinyuan Supreme Being remarked upon reviewing it. Indeed. Lin Yuan nodded. How could it not suit him? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1035 Global Conflict, Vote for Monthly Pass. _2 This martial Tao of force was specifically tailored and perfected by Lin Yuan for the ancient power Supreme Being. With Lin Yuan's realm, he had already seen through the strengths and weaknesses of the ancient power supreme being. Using the martial Tao as the foundation, perfecting a martial Tao of force suitable for the ancient power supreme being is all too simple. After all, it wasn't created out of thin air. Ancient power, I suggest you transition to practicing this martial Tao of force, said the Xiaqin supreme being, standing beside him. I feel the same way. The ancient power supreme being's expression was enthusiastic. He then tentatively asked Lin Yuan, Galaxy, may I transition to cultivating this martial Tao of force? This martial Tao of force was proposed by Lin Yuan, and it branched from the path Lin Yuan himself followed. Naturally, before transitioning to practice it, he needed Lin Yuan's approval. No problem. Lin Yuan said with a smile. The ancient power supreme being transitioning to cultivating the martial Tao of force also benefits Lin Yuan greatly. Under normal circumstances, even if the martial Tao of force were made publicly available to all citizens of human civilization, no one knows how long it would take to give rise to a practitioner of the 12-layer martial Tao of force. Having an evolutionary path doesn't necessarily result in the emergence of a 12th layer. But the ancient power supreme being? He himself is already at the 12th layer. If he chooses to abandon his path, and cultivates the martial Tao of force again, re-entering the 12th layer will likely pose no bottleneck risks. If ancient power transitions to cultivating the martial Tao of force, he might become humanity's second path-splitting realm pinnacle level supreme being, the void god supreme being side. Human civilization's future will grow even stronger. Don't rush, Lin Yuan said from the side. I've also prepared some additional branches for you all. The Shenyuan supreme being, Xiaqin supreme being, Feather Butterfly supreme being, and the other 8 supreme beings were momentarily stunned. Lin Yuan continued to transmit the 8 martial Tao branches such as the Dark Martial Path and Dream Martial Path to them. The 8 supreme beings took a deep breath and quickly began reading and analyzing. After a long while, the Xiaqin supreme being suddenly opened his eyes, his gaze dark and eerie, then quickly returned to normal. Galaxy, this evolutionary path. The Xiaqin supreme being's voice trembled slightly, looking toward Lin Yuan. Dream martial path, phantasm reality, this evolutionary path could transcend into the domination realm without much issue. The feather butterfly supreme being's eyes sparkled with unprecedented brilliance. Cultivating it to the extreme, I will transform into a phantasmal life form. Even chaos venerables will need considerable effort to deal with me. Indeed. The other supreme beings nodded in agreement. They too were awed by the martial Tao branches Lin Yuan had transmitted. Galaxy, these? The Shenyuan supreme being looked at Lin Yuan, his expression filled with excitement. You can all cultivate them, Lin Yuan said directly. Perfecting and extending specialized martial Tao branches for the 9 supreme beings of humanity was entirely a mutually beneficial endeavor. The martial Tao foundation Lin Yuan followed would grow even deeper, and the 9 supreme beings of humanity could also reach even higher and further into the future. There are still dozens of martial Tao branches, each of which could serve as an entirely new evolutionary path into the 12th layer. Lin Yuan revealed all the extended and perfected martial Tao branches he had developed. A total of 73 paths. The 9 supreme beings exchanged glances, with the shock in their hearts diminishing slightly. At least with the prior examples of Thunder Martial Path and other perfectly tailored branches for the 9 supreme beings as a foundation, the addition of dozens of 12th layer branches wasn't something overly unfathomable. Next, Lin Yuan chatted a bit more with the 9 supreme beings, as the Xiaqin supreme being and Shenyuan supreme being began discussions on who would be the first to abandon one's path and transition to cultivating a martial Tao branch. No matter how powerful a 12th layer being is, whether in the path-splitting realm, domination realm, or chaos realm, once they abandon their path, their power will plummet drastically. Hence, humanity's 9 supreme beings would never simultaneously abandon their paths. Although humanity possesses Lin Yuan as their pillar of the C-Com, they cannot rely solely on Lin Yuan to handle everything. The result of their discussion determined that, at most, only 2 supreme beings would be permitted to abandon their paths in the same period. Before these 2 supreme beings re-enter the 12th layer, the remaining 7 supreme beings would need to shoulder the responsibility of maintaining the order of human civilization. Unlike other 12th layer beings, humanity's 9 supreme beings grew up together from their weaker years, forming an exceptional trust among them, which gave them the courage to be the first to abandon their paths. After all, once they abandon their paths and lose their foundational route, a 12th layer being would possess only their essence but no strength. To other beings at the same level, they would become an extraordinary and unique, supreme elixir. No matter if it were consumed or melted down, it would greatly enhance the consumer. After making the Martial Tao branches publicly available to humanity, Lin Yuan resumed his secluded cultivation. Refining these resources, my Xianhuang physique should be able to achieve perfection in the domination realm, Lin Yuan said, taking out a purple cloth pouch. Inside were the resources obtained by selling 18 domination realm wonder trees. These materials, coupled with the ones Lin Yuan had accumulated during other times, as well as his spoils from defeating the Serpent Demon Dominator and Blood Guardian Dominator, constituted nearly all his possessions. Serpent Demon Dominator and Blood Guardian Dominator were infamous plunderers, with wealth far exceeding that of ordinary domination realm pinnacle beings. Sir the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Source World. Qingfen Domain Sky Burning Court. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged in the 13th level chamber, continuing his cultivation methodically. Becoming the disciple of Lord Qingfen offers far better treatment than staying in the Yu family, Lin Yuan thought to himself. It wasn't that he thought the Yu family was inadequate, but under Lord Qingfen's tutelage he could significantly reduce the time spent on trivial matters. He could devote all his focus and energy to cultivation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1036 Global Conflict, Vote for Monthly Pass. _3 So Lin Yuan was quite satisfied with his current situation. To some extent, Lin Yuan in the Fang Yuan world had a more favorable external environment than in the Chaos Void. After all, within the Chaos Void, Lin Yuan lacked any solid backing, whereas in the Fang Yuan world with Lord Qingfen, someone at the peak of the Great Lord level, taking him under his wing, Lin Yuan was completely protected. Apart from Lord Qingfen, Lin Yuan also belonged to the Fierce Sun Ancient Country Camp, which spoke volumes about his background. I've now restored my strength to the 12th layer path-splitting realm. Since his last meeting with Lord Qingfen, Lin Yuan's cultivation resources had flowed continuously and uninterrupted. Hence, there were no bottlenecks or setbacks in restoring his strength. The seed of the Fierce Sun is also about to reach 30,000 units. Lin Yuan never gave up on the condensation of the seed of the Fierce Sun. For him, this wasn't particularly challenging and didn't require much effort, so he did it casually in his spare time while cultivating. My understanding of the rules has increased to some extent, though it hasn't been significant, Lin Yuan thought quietly, not finding it surprising. In fact, Lord Qingfen's advice wasn't wrong. After condensing several thousand or tens of thousands of seeds of the Fierce Sun, the body undergoes a transformation, making it unnecessary to expend energy to continue condensing more, because the effort would outweigh the benefit. Others weren't like Lin Yuan. After condensing several thousand or tens of thousands of seeds of the Fierce Sun, even forming just one more would demand unimaginable effort and mental toil. Why would anyone do that merely to enhance their understanding of the rules by a fraction of a thousandth or 10,000th? I want to see what changes occur after condensing 33,333 seeds of the Fierce Sun. Lin Yuan felt a deep sense of anticipation. 3,333 seeds of the Fierce Sun allowed one's physical body to undergo transformation into the Fierce Sun Divine Body. But what about 33,333 seeds? In terms of difficulty, the latter far surpassed the former, probably to an extent that only the ancient country royals who could condense seeds of the Fierce Sun even while sleeping would dare to attempt such a feat. Did Master send me a message? Lin Yuan's heart stirred as he retrieved a scarlet jade slip, which now had a fresh message on it. Do not leave the sky-burning court for the time being. Lord Qingfen's message was concise, but for a great lord-level figure to personally send such a reminder, it had to be no trivial matter. Lord Qingfen presided over Qingfen City, overseeing every detail of the settlement beneath his gaze as a pinnacle great lord. Logically, even if Lin Yuan left the sky-burning court but stayed within Qingfen City, there should be no major concerns. Lord Qingfen could descend at a moment's notice. Is it because of the threat from the Purple Dream Domain? Lin Yuan speculated. Even though he had been mostly immersed in secluded cultivation recently, Lin Yuan occasionally overheard certain news. Powerful figures from the Purple Dream Domain had frequently been sighted near Qingfen City, seemingly watching for an opportunity. The Purple Dream Domain was a neighboring domain to Qingfen Domain, originating from an adversarial ancient country. The Fang Yuan world was vast and boundless, its ancient countries standing like colossal entities. Though the fierce Sun ancient country reigned supreme, it was certainly not alone. There were still opposing ancient countries. Interactions between ancient countries often involved clashes, especially within the border regions of neighboring domains. The Purple Dream Great Venerable strength was not far beneath that of Lord Qingfen. Lord Qingfen's advice for Lin Yuan to stay in the sky-burning court accounted for the most extreme possibilities. Should the Purple Dream Great Venerable take direct action, Lord Qingfen would be occupied and unable to guarantee Lin Yuan's safety. Having Lin Yuan stay in the sky-burning court was due to the fact that it served as the core of Qingfen City's great formation. Even for someone as powerful as a pinnacle great lord, invading the sky-burning court would still require considerable time and effort. Should such an event truly unfold, it would trigger the sky-burning court's teleportation restriction, instantly sending Lin Yuan to another location, the personal stronghold meticulously prepared by Lord Qingfen, a location of utmost security. So, as long as Lin Yuan obediently remained in the sky-burning court, even a heavenly venerate-level expert would struggle to harm him. Well, he'll just stay here for now then. Lin Yuan was rather sensible. Since Lord Qingfen had advised him not to go out, he certainly would not venture out. Even though this physical Buddhist demise wouldn't equate to true death for Lin Yuan, and he could start anew, it would still waste time. Moreover, if he traveled through dimensions again, whether he would have the same favorable opening conditions was uncertain. Not every great lord-level expert would value their disciple like Lord Qingfen. Many great lords were selfish and exploitative, some even grooming disciples explicitly as resources for their own cultivation. The internal universe. After re-entering the 12th layer, Lin Yuan's internal universe began spontaneously evolving, gradually constructing the 13th layer inheritance, infinite void. This Fang Yuan world is fundamentally weak. It lacks the concept of internal universes. Lin Yuan mused while continuing his cultivation of infinite void. Infinite void was not akin to martial Tao or other evolutionary pathways. Instead, it resembled a secret technique, a method to transform the internal universe. Thus, it was cultivable even within the Fang Yuan world, a dimension outside the chaos void. Or is it not that the Fang Yuan world's experts are inherently weak, but that the chaos void's experts have exceedingly strong foundations? Lin Yuan wondered to himself. Within the chaos void, ascending to the 12th layer meant receiving chaos void origin infusion, which accelerated the transformation of the internal universe. But in this Fang Yuan world, there was no such convenience. Were it not for the vast resources supplied by Lord Qingfen, Lin Yuan's internal world would have taken tremendous time and effort to evolve into an internal universe. If Lin Yuan struggled this much, other experts would face even greater challenges. Time slid by gradually. Years passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Lin Yuan's internal universe surged, having fully mastered the first layer of infinite void, which rivaled the internal universes of chaos venerables. By now, the strength of Lin Yuan's foundation absolutely surpassed even that of pinnacle great lords like Lord Qingfen. Seed of the fierce sun. Lin Yuan's expression shifted as he examined himself. At this moment, countless seeds of the fierce sun permeated his Buddhist limbs and bones, resembling an endless sea of fierce Sunday. Meanwhile, new seeds of the fierce sun continued to condense with the passage of time. Sir, the novel, Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lin Yuan condensed another seed of the fierce sun. In an instant, a burgeoning cycle of seeds of the fierce sun formed a preliminary framework, bursting forth with radiant brilliance. P.S. First chapter update. Second chapter coming around 11 o'clock. Kneeling for monthly tickets if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1037 The Terrifying Fierce Sun Divine Body, requesting monthly votes. The numerous seeds of the fierce sun intertwined, forming the embryonic shape of a cycle. Thus it repeated, endlessly. At this moment, Lin Yuan's physical body was rapidly accelerating in its transformation into the fierce sun divine body. The searing heat between heaven and earth surged continuously into him. I can feel it. My physical Buddhist metamorphosis into the fierce sun divine body has been drastically shortened in time, something that initially would have required 3,000 to 5,000 years. CTH Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Now, it would only take 3 to 5 years. Only 3,000 seeds of the fierce sun, and already such phenomena? Lin Yuan was well aware of the number of seeds of the fierce sun within him, only 30,000. It had not yet reached 33,333. Hence, the cycle formed by the seeds of the fierce sun was merely in its embryonic state. Even so, Lin Yuan could feel the changes in his physical body and soul, as though immersed in a hot spring. Exceedingly comfortable, and his comprehension of the rules had further advanced significantly. No longer at the previous tortoise-like pace. These seeds of the fierce sun seemed to be forming a broken imprint? Lin Yuan's heart stirred as he diverted a thread of his consciousness to probe into it. Boom. Lin Yuan's awareness instantly soared to infinite heights, arriving at a place filled with boundless fierce Sunday. This place was entirely crimson red, as if it were the sole existence in the world. What is that? Lin Yuan raised his gaze to find a figure silently standing at an immeasurable height. This figure radiated infinite light and heat, lacking a definitive shape. Its form varied a millionfold depending on the perspective of the beholder. Buzz buzz buzz. In the instant he saw the figure, Lin Yuan's consciousness began to plummet. Who? On the 13th floor of the sky-burning court, Lin Yuan exhaled softly. At this moment, he realized that even with the 30,000 seeds of the fierce sun not yet fully forming the great cycle, they had given him a glimpse of some absolute secrets. That figure, could it be the ancestor of fierce sun? The eternal fierce sun above the heavens? Lin Yuan speculated in his heart, reasoning that he accessed the crimson space through the seeds of the fierce sun, and that these seeds were indeed connected to the ancestor of fierce Sunday. It was natural for Lin Yuan to link the two together. How terrifying! Lin Yuan marveled inwardly. This was the first time he had directly faced a 13th-layer temporal being. The creator of the infinite void was also a 13th-layer temporal being. However, what Lin Yuan saw back then was merely a residual imprint left by the creator, lacking any concrete thoughts. But the figure standing amidst the boundless fierce sun, whether it was the ancestor of fierce sun's authentic form or even just an avatar, gave Lin Yuan an overwhelmingly oppressive presence. In this lifetime, can I truly achieve such a level? Lin Yuan's thoughts expanded. Neither the Moyu Tower Master nor Shen Huang, nor even the creator of the infinite void, had left any method or description for crossing into the 13th layer. A 12th layer being's advance to the 13th layer, compared to an 11th layer being attempting to reach the 12th, was nowhere near as perilous. It wasn't simply a matter of success or death. For a 12th layer being to transcend into the 13th layer, there was simply no fixed method or path. Forget it. First, he'll cultivate to the chaos realm. Lin Yuan consolidated his thoughts. The 13th layer matters were still far too distant. At present, Lin Yuan wasn't even at the chaos realm, nor at the dominator realm, he was merely at the path-splitting realm. The infinite void has been mastered, and the martial Tao has once again reached the peak of the path-splitting realm. As of now, my strength, though not on par with the chaos void's true body, likely is only marginally inferior. While I can't claim the chaos realm, I could easily crush anyone in the dominator realm. Lin Yuan examined himself, making a concrete assessment of his power. If the fierce sun divine body completes its transformation fully, then I might not be weaker than a true body. Lin Yuan speculated to himself. The fierce sun divine body was the strongest physique of the fierce sun ancient country, second to none. Especially within the fierce sun ancient country, it was rumored that when the fierce sun divine body operated to its extreme, it could wield even a minuscule fraction of the eternal fierce sun's power above the heavens. Under such circumstances, even if the chaos void's true body successfully comprehended and replicated the fierce sun divine body, its ability to exert its power could never match Lin Yuan's own. Outside Qingfen City, several figures stood motionlessly in midair. Among them, a violet-haired woman stood as the lead. Senior sister, is it true that the master plans to act against the Qingfen domain? Behind the violet-haired woman was a man who looked ahead toward the majestic Qingfen City in the distance and asked aloud. It is an order from the capital, the master cannot disobey. The violet-haired woman responded. No matter how powerful the great lord might be, they must heed the orders of the ancient country. This was the iron law. Of course, some carefree great lords and heavenly venerates avoided accepting the ancient country's ennoblement, thus forfeiting many benefits and privileges. Such individuals were also free from obligations or constraints. Still, any great lord or heavenly venerate with even a hint of ambition would generally align themselves with one of the major ancient countries. There was no alternative, Within the ancient countries lay the most profound legacies, the most accurate guidance, and the strongest protection. Without affiliating with any ancient country, great lords and heavenly venerates could not foresee a path forward, thus finding progress exceedingly difficult. The capital's orders? The man who had spoken earlier did not inquire further. If it were merely their master's intentions, there might still be room for change, but the capital? What do we need to do? An elderly woman with a hunched back directly queried. It's simple. The master will personally intervene, luring away Lord Qingfen. As for us, we'll infiltrate Qingfen City beforehand. With the master's methods in place, as long as we don't act, even Lord Qingfen won't detect a thing. The violet-haired woman continued, once Lord Qingfen is led away, we will strike without restraint, causing as much chaos within Qingfen City as possible. Then we can use the myriad formation crystal to replicate the formations of Qingfen City. Once back, we'll decipher its weaknesses. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1038 The Terrifying Fierce Sun Divine Body, requesting monthly votes, _2" causing upheaval in Qingfen City is merely a tactic. The ultimate goal is to use the myriad formation crystal to duplicate Qingfen City's formation. The woman with purple hair spoke. Only by preemptively decrypting Qingfen City's formation, waiting for Purple Dream Domain and other major domains to launch a full-scale attack on Qingfen City, can victory be swift and decisive. If not, with Qingfen City's formation operating at full capacity, coupled with the presence of the city's core formation, it would be more than sufficient to resist attacks from 7 or 8, even up to a dozen peak-level great lords of similar rank. The core of the plan is the myriad formation crystal. Such a treasure was granted from the capital, theoretically capable of replicating all formations in existence, and is extremely valuable. Marquis Purple Dream must return it after using it. Once Qingfen City's formation is duplicated successfully, Marquis Purple Dream will immediately invite ancient country formation masters to crack it, then swiftly ally with other domains to wage war. Even if Lord Qingfen realizes something is amiss, it will be too late to react. To change Qingfen City's grand array? That cannot be achieved in a short period of time. However, they could only execute such a maneuver once. After breaching Qingfen City, Fierce Sun Ancient Countries experts would undoubtedly review the incident, easily determining the source of the issue. At that time, measures would certainly be taken to prevent this from happening again. No problem. SAR the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The few figures behind the purple-haired woman nodded slightly. This mission posed little danger. Lord Qingfen had been drawn away by Marquis Purple Dream, essentially eliminating the greatest threat. As for Lord Qingfen's disciples? Although Lord Qingfen is formidable, he's notoriously neglectful in his disciples' training, resulting in mediocre abilities among his students. Far inferior to them. Even Lord Qingfen's eldest disciple, Feng Wanxing, pales in strength compared to the purple-haired woman. The purple-haired woman's strength had already half-stepped into the realm of the Great Lord. Among the numerous sovereign-level figures in Purple Dream Domain, at least 10 possess strength comparable to Feng Wanxing. I heard that not long ago, Lord Qingfen took in a new disciple. To accept this disciple, he personally left Qingfen City. The hunched elderly woman spoke. This matter wasn't a secret. After accepting Lin Yuan, Lord Qingfen introduced him to his other disciples. A widely spread and celebrated story within Qingfen Domain, a demonstration of a meteoric rise. Initially, the Yu family was merely a second-tier household, but it soared to become one of the most influential families in Qingfen Domain. I've heard that too. Given Lord Qingfen's personality, it's unlikely he would recklessly leave Qingfen City just for a disciple. The man beside her expressed some curiosity. Fierce Sun Ancient Country designs its marquee system specifically to defend their respective domains, and the core of any domain is its domain city, the domain city of Qingfen Domain being Qingfen City. For Lord Qingfen to leave Qingfen City recklessly entails a certain level of risk. If, during that time, an enemy domain launched an assault, Qingfen City would be vulnerable without the suppression of a peak-level Great Lord. Though this scenario is unlikely. Lord Qingfen departed without notifying anyone beforehand. Enemy domains wouldn't know and would likely assume he remained within the city. Consequently, such attacks were improbable. Moreover, if Lord Qingfen dared leave, he must have confidence in his ability to return instantaneously. Thus, the risks were minimized. This particular scheme relied on Marquis Purple Dream stalling Lord Qingfen, the act of stalling itself being crucial. Only by keeping Lord Qingfen occupied would they have enough time to employ the myriad formation crystal to replicate Qingfen City's formation. Lord Qingfen is cold-hearted. Under orders from Fierce Sun Ancient Country, he accepted several disciples, but none of them dare call him master. Yet for this newly accepted young disciple, he not only risked leaving Qingfen City but spared no expense in his training. The purple-haired woman slightly shook her head. This disciple named Yu Yen must possess terrifying talent and aptitude, at least far exceeding Feng Wanxing during his prime. Indeed. The others nodded slightly, agreeing inwardly. If it were an ordinary disciple, Lord Qingfen would never go to such lengths. In the future, this individual would undoubtedly become a major calamity for Purple Dream Domain. The purple-haired woman offered her assessment, followed by a shake of her head. However, there will be no future. The moment these words were spoken, the others laughed immediately. Indeed. There will be no future. If this plan succeeds, Qingfen Domain will fall entirely. Even if Lord Qingfen survives, he'll be reduced to being a fugitive, hiding somewhere to lick his wounds. As for the disciples he poured his heart into cultivating, there's hardly a need to worry. No matter how heaven-defying the talent may be, without the luxury of time to grow, not even royal progeny of the ancient countries poses a threat. Even if Yu Yen managed to mature eventually, it would take countless eons. At least in Purple Dream Domain's current scheme, he wouldn't have any role to play. If the duplication of Qingfen City's formation completes smoothly, the capital will send down a precious treasure. The purple-haired woman concluded. Her words aimed to boost morale. An item deemed a precious treasure by the ancient country would be coveted even by great lord-level experts. As for their group of sovereign-level figures, once obtained, even if they couldn't use it themselves, they could trade it with a great lord, exchanging it for resources they desired. Given that it was bestowed by the capital, none would dare attempt to seize it. For these sovereign-level figures, it was reassuring. A precious treasure? The hunched elderly woman and the others exchanged glances, their eyes gleaming heatedly. As it stood, their mission didn't seem hard to complete, with the sole potential risk being whether Lord Qingfen would return early. Still, under the incentive of the capital's precious treasure, with no apparent danger or risk, they instead felt slightly uneasy internally. Qingfen City. Lord Qingfen gazed distantly. In recent days he had clearly sensed abnormal movements from Purple Dream Domain. However, given Qingfen Domain's antagonistic relationship with Purple Dream Domain, such activity was ordinary. What exactly does Purple Dream intend to do? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1039 The Terrifying Fierce Sun Divine Body, requesting monthly votes? _3 Lord Qingfen vaguely felt something was amiss but couldn't pinpoint it. Better to make more preparations. Lord Qingfen pondered for a moment, then immediately summoned the disciples. Greetings, Marquis. Feng Wanxing and other sovereign realm cultivators bowed toward Lord Qingfen. Although Lord Qingfen never allowed them to address him as master, the treatment they received was hardly lacking. From now on, if him not in Qingfen City and the Purple Dream Domain or other major territories launch an assault, ignore other areas and focus on defending these specific locations. Lord Qingfen immediately listed the core arrays of Qingfen City. In Lord Qingfen's predictions, the worst scenario was being occupied and delayed. Then, the Purple Dream Domain would take advantage to cause chaos and destroy the city's arrays. If he remained in Qingfen City, the Purple Dream Domain wouldn't stand a chance. As for a full-scale invasion of Qingfen City, even if Lord Qingfen were absent from the city, the arrays of Qingfen City would activate automatically upon attack, providing enough support for a long period. Thus, Lord Qingfen speculated that the strong cultivators of the Purple Dream Domain might attempt to infiltrate Qingfen City in advance. However, their numbers would certainly be limited, as Qingfen City had specialized detection formations. If the thickness of life of those entering exceeded a certain threshold, an alarm would be triggered. The so-called thickness of life refers to the power and quantity of an entity. For example, if someone at the level of a great venerable enters, I would immediately sense it. Or if a large number of sovereign realm cultivators invade, I would sense that as well. The strongest entities could use secret techniques to suppress their own aura, hiding their origin and background. But the thickness of life cannot be altered. Should it exceed the critical threshold, I will promptly be aware. Understood. Feng Wanxing and the other disciples responded immediately. Marquis, is the Purple Dream Domain planning something recently? Feng Wanxing probed cautiously. The layout Lord Qingfen was organizing was clearly aimed at the Purple Dream Domain. I am merely making preparations. Whether the Purple Dream Domain takes action or not, we'll see when the time comes. Lord Qingfen replied calmly. Deep down he even hoped the Purple Dream Domain would make their move. The power of the Purple Dream Great Venerable could barely match Lord Qingfen's level, but if the two clashed, Lord Qingfen would clearly hold the upper hand. Furthermore, Lord Qingfen recently made breakthroughs in secret technique cultivation. If Marquis Purple Dream dared to come, Lord Qingfen was confident he could seriously injure him. With Marquis Purple Dream severely injured, the Qingfen domain could enjoy peace for millions, perhaps tens of millions of years. Dismissed. Lord Qingfen waved his hand. Once all the disciples had retreated, Lord Qingfen sank into contemplation. That disciple of mine has been requesting far too many resources lately. Lord Qingfen rubbed his chin. Lin Yuan was his most valued disciple. Though Lord Qingfen rarely interacted with him publicly, he had been secretly observing him all along. Still, as long as you can bear it, resources are nothing. Go ahead and take them. Lord Qingfen smiled faintly, a hint of anticipation in his heart. Search * the Nell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Inside the sky-burning court, Lin Yuan was observing the changes in his physical body. After condensing 30,000 seeds of the fierce sun, the transformation speed of the fierce sun divine body had skyrocketed. Lin Yuan could perceive the changes in his body and physique every single moment. Every drop of my blood, down to the most microscopic particles, has turned crimson, evolving more intricate patterns. Lin Yuan's expression carried traces of contemplation as those patterns intertwined, significantly strengthening his physical body and even resonating with the most fundamental Dedeo principles of heaven and earth. Whether in this origin world or within the chaos void, every cultivator seeks Dedeo enlightenment to wield its principles. This act is inherently proactive. Yet the unfinished transformation of the fierce sun divine body now seemed to give Lin Yuan a sense of instinctive resonance with the universal Dedeo principles. He didn't need to pursue the Tao naturally came to him. Magnificent. The more Lin Yuan observed, the more he marveled inwardly. Beneath the practice of body refinement secret techniques, Lin Yuan possessed deep foundations and had mastered supreme skills like the Xianhuang physique, a Tao-protecting secret method created through the painstaking effort of a great saint, along with portions of the demonic jade immortal body. However, neither the Xianhuang physique nor the demonic jade immortal body were anything more than methods to refine the physical form, building an indestructible existence. The fierce sun divine body, on the other hand, reconstructed the physical form, fundamentally altering its composition. Up to now, Lin Yuan still wasn't sure whether he remained part of the human race. Of course, the defining attribute of a race wasn't the physical form but the primordial spirit and true spirit, a truth Lin Yuan had long understood during the main universe era of human civilization. Many evolutionists of human civilization in the main universe had chosen to seize unique life forms to enhance their starting points. After seizure, their physical forms might not remain human, yet as long as their true spirit was human, they were still considered human. The fierce sun divine body also has distinctions. The most basic fierce sun divine body is formed from 3,333 seeds of the fierce sun. As the number of condensed seeds of the fierce sun increases, the power of the divine body grows stronger. Lin Yuan thought to himself. These insights were gained from Lin Yuan's meticulous observations of his own body. The transformation process of a fierce sun divine body created from 20,000 seeds of the fierce sun was vastly different from one created with merely 3,000 seeds. This difference wasn't just in transformation speed but also in the details of the composition. Once the fierce sun divine body is fully transformed, everything will become clear. Lin Yuan mused inwardly. While the transformation remained incomplete, much couldn't yet be understood. Time flowed slowly. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. Rumble. Lin Yuan's physical body finally completed its final transformation. Sitting cross-legged, Lin Yuan carefully sensed the changes in his physique and physical form. At this moment, the most microscopic elements of Lin Yuan's body had completely transformed into particles of flame, with profoundly mysterious patterns etched upon every particle. The patterns intertwined and entangled with each other. This? Lin Yuan exhaled softly. With the transformation of the fierce sun divine body completed, an abundance of instinctual information flooded into his mind. P.S. Second update. 10,000 words completed. Begging for monthly votes please if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1040 Chaos, requesting monthly votes. The moment the fierce sun divine body was formed, a torrent of instinctual information surged into Lin Yuan's mind. Lin Yuan's consciousness rapidly absorbed the information. These bits of knowledge stemmed from the divine Bodhi's inherent instincts, much like how a person instinctively knows how to breathe or open their eyes upon birth. This is the fierce sun divine body? Lin Yuan couldn't help but feel a sense of awe in his heart. During the metamorphosis of the divine body earlier, he had already sensed the intimidating nature of this constitution. In addition to the many texts and legacies within the sky-burning court, there were detailed descriptions of the fierce sun divine body. S.E.A. the Novel Fire, net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It was only when his physical body had completely transformed into the fierce sun divine body that Lin Yuan realized he had underestimated it. Too powerful. Lin Yuan raised his right hand. Although it remained flesh and blood, the smallest microcosmic components had already transformed into countless fierce sun particles, marked with deep and mysterious patterns on their surface. Burn everything, devour everything? Lin Yuan carefully felt every intricate detail of the fierce sun divine body. When Lin Yuan condensed the 30,000 seed of the fierce sun, his spirit and will had once entered a crimson space, where he glimpsed what seemed to be the figure of the ancestor of fierce Sunday. It had countless manifestations, different beings perceived it in different forms. Similarly, the fierce sun divine body varies among awakened individuals, with each being distinct. Lin Yuan's fierce sun divine body, while maintaining the infinite power of burning, was also endowed with a devouring force. Anything, living or dead, burned to ashes by the divine Bodhi's power could have its origin source directly absorbed. Even space and time could be set ablaze, converting into origin source to replenish Lin Yuan. This devouring and absorption process happens instantaneously. It requires no refining time whatsoever. Simply put, for Lin Yuan at this moment, battles were not an expenditure, they were feasts. This ability, Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. It was truly monstrous, tantamount to a perpetual motion machine, eliminating any concerns of depletion. Consider this, even Chaos Venerables worry about resource exhaustion. Chaos Great Saints manage somewhat better by constantly refining Chaos Chi to sustain themselves. But what if there was no Chaos Chi around? Lin Yuan's fierce sun divine body possessed the ability to burn and devour everything. Chaos Chi, enemy-killing blows, visible and invisible elements, tangible and intangible, all could be burned and devoured. Asterisk Walala. Asterisk at his fingertips, Lin Yuan ignited a tiny flame. The flame burned silently, warping the surrounding space slightly. Cracks began to appear, and Lin Yuan immediately felt streams of warmth flowing into his physical body. So this is the sensation of burning and devouring space? Lin Yuan's expression was thoughtful, and he promptly extinguished the flame. This ability must still be used cautiously. A single misstep could cause massive collapses in time and space, potentially drawing the attention of the upper echelons of the fierce sun ancient country. After all, allowing Lin Yuan to recklessly burn everything might incinerate the entire fierce sun ancient country. Of course, the territory of the ancient country was vast and boundless. Burning and devouring such a massive area would likely take an unimaginable amount of time. Furthermore, the dukes and kings within the country would never stand idly by, let alone the eternal sun that reigns supreme above the heavens. The key point was that the origin source gained through devouring could replenish consumption, heal injuries, but offered little else in utility. My current strength. Lin Yuan let out a long breath. The so-called burning and devouring were merely one of the abilities appended to the fierce sun divine body. After completing its metamorphosis, Lin Yuan's physical strength and vitality had skyrocketed immensely. In direct combat, I shouldn't be weaker than the true forms of beings birthed from the chaos void. If it comes to a prolonged stalemate, I'd ultimately be the one to prevail. Lin Yuan examined himself. The burning and devouring ability of his awakened fierce sun divine body rendered him unmatched in endurance-based battles. Trying to outlast him? Even great saints might not surpass Lin Yuan. Transform into the fierce sun. Transform into the fierce sun. Lin Yuan sensed the intricacies of the divine body. Every strong individual who awakens the fierce sun divine body shares one unifying ability. That is, the transformation into the fierce sun. This serves as the ultimate finishing move of the fierce sun divine body. Once activated, the physical body and essential vitality are completely converted into a miniature fierce Sunday. At that point, one can draw a tiny, insignificant trace of power from the eternal sun that resides above the heavens. Of course, using this ultimate move places an immense burden on the origin source of the fierce sun divine body. Unless it's absolutely necessary, it's best avoided. Once activated, recovering from it could take millions, if not tens of millions, of years. My awakened fierce sun divine body offers far greater physical and vital enhancements compared to other similar bodies. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The fierce sun divine body was known as the strongest divine body within the fierce sun ancient country, with ample documentation describing its properties. Lin Yuan was also aware of the enhancements experienced by others who awakened the fierce sun divine body. However, the degree of improvement fell far below his own. It's the influence of the seeds of the fierce sun. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. As early as during the metamorphosis of the fierce sun divine body, Lin Yuan had noticed the quantity of seeds had a profound effect on the transformation of his body. Now this conclusion had been confirmed. In reality, the more seeds of the fierce sun one condenses, the stronger the awakened divine body becomes. Among the great lords of the fierce sun ancient country, this was not considered a secret. But knowing is one thing, being able to achieve it is another entirely. Chaos Void. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Fierce sun divine body. Lin Yuan carefully observed every detail of the fierce sun divine body. His origin world avatar shared the same consciousness as him, meaning Lin Yuan could examine the divine body from every conceivable angle. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1041 Chaos, Vote for Monthly Tickets. _2 It will be very difficult to replicate this kind of physique. Lin Yuan concluded. The solar flame divine physique was extraordinarily complex, down to its most microscopic components, those flame particles whose surfaces were etched with countless profound and mysterious patterns. CTH Null Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. To Lin Yuan, such a structure felt as boundless as an entire universe. The solar flame divine physique in its original world was a natural evolution. It required 3,333 seeds of the fierce sun, cycling together to gradually reform the physical body and vitality until finally, the solar flame divine physique emerged. However, in the chaos void, the seeds of the fierce sun were completely ineffective. To replicate a solar flame divine physique here, one would need to comprehend every microscopic flame particle. Take it slow. Lin Yuan reined in his thoughts. With his against heaven's understanding, unraveling the essence of the solar flame divine physique was indeed difficult but not impossible. Lin Yuan's attempt to comprehend the solar flame divine physique wasn't driven by the desire to replicate it in the chaos void. Rather, he was simply intrigued by the microstructure of its flame particles. Such comprehension could possibly hint at another grand path, one comparable to the 13th tier legacy of the infinite void. Should he achieve such understanding, it would open countless other possibilities. Lin Yuan wouldn't need to confine himself to the solar flame divine physique. He could easily create various physiques equivalent to the solar flame divine physique, achieving unimaginable heights on the path of physical vitality. Qingfen City. A purple-haired woman gathered with other powerful figures of the Purple Dream domain. We finally managed to infiltrate. A gaunt man spoke with a solemn expression. At present they were inside Qingfen City. If they were discovered, it would mean certain death. Lord Qingfen could obliterate them with a single thought. We used secret treasures to completely conceal our auras. As long as Lord Qingfen doesn't deliberately inspect us, he won't notice. The purple-haired woman's tone was calm. Qingfen City, as the domain city and the core of the Qingfen domain, saw countless powerful beings entering and leaving regularly. How could Lord Qingfen possibly investigate every single entity entering the city? If Qingfen City didn't have a formation specifically designed to detect the thickness and weight of life, it wouldn't have been so difficult for just a handful of us to infiltrate. The purple-haired woman shook her head slightly. At this moment, there were only 12 of them who had infiltrated Qingfen City from the Purple Dream domain. Any more would risk alerting the life detection formation and drawing Lord Qingfen's attention. Life has both thickness and weight. Auras can be concealed, but the thickness and weight of life cannot be hidden. Occasionally, Qingfen City might see the arrival of a dozen sovereign-level beings. That wouldn't be unusual. But if the numbers increased beyond that, it would become suspicious. If 50 or 100 sovereign-level beings were dispatched and the thickness and weight of life in Qingfen City surpassed the vigilance threshold, Lord Qingfen, even if unaware of abnormalities, would conduct a thorough investigation of the city. If such an investigation began, Qingfen City would enter full defensive mode. At that point, with Lord Qingfen on guard, it would be highly uncertain whether Marquis Purple Dream could accomplish their objective. This mission is crucial. Using the myriad formation crystal to replicate all the arrays in Qingfen City can only succeed. It must not fail. The purple-haired woman spoke with solemnity. If such a plan failed, any future attempt to attack the Qingfen domain would come at an unimaginably high cost. And even then it might not succeed. Understood. The others nodded. They were fully aware of the gravity of their task. For this mission they had even brought the myriad formation crystal, a priceless treasure, to replicate the formation arrays. The myriad formation crystal was forged through the painstaking efforts of a formation master from the ancient nation, and its value was immeasurable. If this plan hadn't involved a strategy of an ancient nation-level magnitude, the myriad formation crystal would not have been used. Senior sister, what's our next move? An elderly, hunched woman turned to the purple-haired woman, asking softly. Wait. The purple-haired woman replied. Wait. The group exchanged glances. Wait for our master to make a move. He will occupy Lord Qingfen, and then we will proceed with the plan. The purple-haired woman's tone remained composed. If Lord Qingfen retained any spare capacity to act, they wouldn't dare to reveal even a hint of their aura, let alone use the myriad formation crystal to replicate the arrays. Understood. The group nodded. Before infiltrating Qingfen City, they had no knowledge of how their plan would unfold. It was only after entering the city that the purple-haired woman informed them of the subsequent steps. Let's hope everything goes smoothly. The purple-haired woman thought silently to herself. If they successfully replicated Qingfen City's arrays, she would earn immense merit. With the ancient nation's rewards, she might even fully step into the level of a great lord. The purple-haired woman was at the peak of sovereign level, with 1 foot already in the realm of great lords. She was acutely aware of the vast gap between a great lord and those below that rank. In fact, all 10+ powerful figures from the Purple Dream domain who had infiltrated were mostly at half-step great lord strength. Given the limitation in numbers, the infiltrators were naturally the strongest of those at the sovereign level. Lord Qingfen, who had been meditating in seclusion, abruptly opened his eyes. Not far away, a figure silently coalesced, the silhouette of a woman clad in a purple skirt. Purple Dream. Lord Qingfen gazed at the purple-skirted woman and smiled. Why send only an avatar here? If the purple-skirted woman had descended in her true form, Lord Qingfen wouldn't waste a single word. He would have immediately activated Qingfen City's grand array to suppress her. Capturing a feudal lord from an enemy ancient nation alive would be a monumental achievement. Even if it wasn't possible to capture her alive, killing or severely injuring her would still greatly benefit Lord Qingfen. But unfortunately, Lord Qingfen was acutely aware that the Purple Dream Marquis standing before him was merely an avatar. To me, there's little difference between an avatar and my true form. Marquis Purple Dream's tone was gentle. The path she walked was rooted in soul illusion. She was not proficient in matters of the physical body. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1042 Chaos. Vote for monthly tickets. _3 Even if it's just an incarnation, as long as the mind and will are strong enough, it can still unleash terrifying combat power. Just an incarnation, how much of your mind and will can it contain? How strong can the secret techniques it wields really be? Lord Qingfen scoffed in disbelief. Qingfen, I've spent 30,000 years weaving you a beautiful dream. Why don't you come in and take a look? The voice of the woman with the violet dress overlapped heavily, echoing. Lord Qingfen immediately sensed his consciousness beginning to descend into a haze. This isn't good. Your incarnation contains the origin source of your true self? How could you bear to do this? Lord Qingfen's eyes widened as he struggled to stay awake, resisting the pull into slumber. Meanwhile, layers upon layers of a spatial temporal maze started to manifest in the surroundings. As his usual retreat for cultivation, it was naturally also the core area of Qingfen City's formation coverage. With a single thought, he could activate the formation's power to protect himself. Purple Dream, you can at most trap me for 100 breaths of time. Lord Qingfen glared at Marquis Purple Dream, even as his mind and will rapidly descended. Before he completely fell into unconsciousness, Lord Qingfen had already transmitted messages to his many disciples and followers. 100 breaths, that's more than enough. Marquis Purple Dream stared at the now slumbering Lord Qingfen. Though the price she paid to trap Lord Qingfen for 100 breaths was not small, her goal was never to kill him. That was impossible. Protected by Qingfen City's grand formation, a mere incarnation, even with 7 or 8 other peak Great Lord level experts of the same tier, couldn't touch him within 100 breaths, let alone kill him. Besides, even if the current Lord Qingfen was slain, had surely have life-preserving mechanisms and would not truly perish. The stakes weren't significant in that sense. Marquis Purple Dream's true strategy lay with the disciples equipped with the myriad formation crystal, who had long infiltrated Qingfen City. With Lord Qingfen's consciousness thrown into slumber, not only the awareness of his true form but even his incarnated avatars, Qingfen City would become leaderless. 100 breaths of time would suffice for the myriad formation crystal to fully replicate the city's formation structures. Before falling completely into slumber, Lord Qingfen had already delivered instructions to his many disciples and subordinates. The Marquis wants us to head immediately to the formation's core areas to guard them? Feng Wanxing and other Dominator-level experts received Lord Qingfen's urgent summons. Though perplexed, they hesitated not for a moment, promptly acting as per the prearranged protocol. Not long before, Lord Qingfen had sensed something amiss. He had already warned Feng Wanxing and the Dominator-level experts that if anything unexpected occurred, they were not to concern themselves with the rest of the city but instead guard the specific formation core zones. In Lord Qingfen's calculations, even under extreme circumstances, such as Marquis Purple Dream making a move, her aim would likely be to sabotage Qingfen City's formation cores. As long as the formation's cores were protected, the grand formation of Qingfen City would remain intact, and the strategies of the Purple Dream domain would naturally collapse on their own. Master said I shouldn't leave? Lin Yuan also received Lord Qingfen's final transmission. His tone was so urgent, something must have gone wrong. Lin Yuan speculated inwardly, glancing outside the sky-burning court. Since Master told me not to leave, I definitely won't step outside. Lin Yuan actively operated the formation surrounding the sky-burning court. Normally, these formations ran in hidden mode, only triggering during emergencies. Taking a prudent approach, Lin Yuan ensured the formations ran at their highest defensive intensity outright. This level of operation consumed significant energy, but after deducing that Lord Qingfen was likely in trouble, Lin Yuan disregarded such costs. Master has successfully stalled Lord Qingfen. The violet-haired woman received word, a hint of delight flashing across her features. This operation by the Purple Dream domain hinged on the critical point, whether Lord Qingfen could be stalled. If he couldn't be held back, then it would all amount to nothing. Their emergence would only mean death. Only 70 breaths left. The violet-haired woman glanced at the other figures behind her. Marquis Purple Dream was confident she could trap Lord Qingfen for over 100 breaths, but they needed to reserve ample time to retreat from Qingfen City. Let's begin. With a sweeping gesture from the violet-haired woman, hundreds of colossal figures materialized. These were all puppets at the pinnacle of Dominator-level strength. Without a trace of life aura, they could evade detection by Qingfen City's formation sensors. Rumble, hundreds of peak Dominator-level puppets began wreaking havoc within Qingfen City, drawing overt attention. Meanwhile, the violet-haired woman and other strongholders concealed themselves, equipped with the myriad formation crystals, and secretly set to replicating Qingfen City's grand formation structures. At one of the formation core zones, the violet-haired woman and her allies appeared. Lord Qingfen's disciples are guarding inside. The violet-haired woman smiled faintly. Truly worthy of being a peak great lord who has fought us in the Purple Dream domain for years. He's thought things through so thoroughly, even predicting our target might be the formation cores within the city. The other strongholders shared knowing grins. Though Lord Qingfen had just been stalled, the disciples had promptly stationed themselves at the formation cores, clearly a precaution prepared in advance. But unfortunately for them, armed with the myriad formation crystal, there was no need to destroy the formation cores. They merely had to replicate them from afar and bring them back to be deciphered by the ancient country formation masters. The effort to directly destroy the formation cores versus secretly replicating them from outside was leagues apart in difficulty. The violet-haired woman and her allies spent just 3 breaths using the myriad formation crystal to replicate this core structure, then quietly vanished. See the novel Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The disciples guarding the formation core remained completely oblivious to the violet-haired woman and her team throughout. Time continued to flow. 20 breaths quickly passed. We've already replicated 6 formation cores. The violet-haired woman was greatly satisfied. Everything had been proceeding smoothly. Hundreds of puppets at the pinnacle of Dominator-level strength were brazenly attracting Qingfen City's attention on the surface. Thus far, their path had encountered no hindrance. Qingfen City had 12 formation core zones in total. They had already replicated 9 within 20 breaths. Time remained comfortably ample. Let's move to the next formation core. The violet-haired woman and her team immediately began rushing toward their next target. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1043 Purple Dream Domain has indeed made a move. Feng Wanxing was stationed at one of the most crucial core formations and immediately noticed the chaos within the city. The uncontrolled actions of those hundreds of peak Dominator realm puppets stirred energy fluctuations so intense, they were hard to ignore. If not for the marquee orders instructing us to guard the core formations, just these mere hundreds of puppets? Feng Wanxing shook his head slightly. Hundreds of peak Dominator realm puppets didn't mean much. It was only because the strongest Dominator realm powerhouses of Qingfen City were ordered by Lord Qingfen to guard the core formations. This allowed the puppets to seize the opportunity to rampage across the city. Feng Wanxing understood the reasoning behind Lord Qingfen's decisions. As long as the core formations remained intact, Qingfen City would stand as unshakable as a mountain. The destruction caused by the peak Dominator realm puppets? It barely mattered. Sar the novel Undershafar. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The marquee must have been held back by Marquis Purple Dream. Feng Wanxing's mind churned with thoughts. With Lord Qingfen's strength, dealing with those puppets would be as easy as snapping his fingers. The only explanation for the lack of action was that Marquis Purple Dream was hindering him. Could Marquis Purple Dream be stalling the Marquis merely to let these puppets run amok? Feng Wanxing pondered deeply, sensing that something was off. Even he didn't care about the destruction caused by the puppets, as the losses to Qingfen City were minimal at best. Although he didn't know what method Marquis Purple Dream was using to forestall the Marquis, it certainly came with a price. Paying a price, just to inflict such trivial, insignificant damage on Qingfen City? I'll wait until the Marquis is free to act before pursuing this matter further. Feng Wanxing decided to set his questions aside until he could speak to Lord Qingfen in person. Right now, all 12 core formations across the city are under strict guard. Feng Wanxing glanced in other directions. So far, the other 11 core formations had not been attacked, and everything remained normal. And then there's Junior Brother. Feng Wanxing turned to look toward Sky Burning Court again. Junior Brother is also staying within the court. Feng Wanxing was acutely aware of Lord Qingfen's regard for Lin Yuan. If Junior Brother were to encounter any harm during this raid by the Purple Dream Domain, Lord Qingfen would undoubtedly fly into an unparalleled rage. But for now, Junior Brother appeared to be perfectly safe. He had not left Sky Burning Court. As long as he remained within Sky Burning Court, there was no need to worry about his safety. The defenses of Sky Burning Court were unmatched in all of Qingfen City, better protected than any of them, including Junior Brother himself. As long as the 12 formations remain secure, and Junior Brother stays unharmed, let these puppets wreak havoc as they please. Feng Wanxing withdrew his gaze from the chaotic city streets. The purple-haired woman and several powerful figures flitted through the void, passing through every corner of Qingfen City. The myriad formation crystal faintly emitted a hazy light, replicating every formation within its range. Only 2 core formations remain. The purple-haired woman felt a surge of delight, and the other powerhouses couldn't hold back their smiles. So far, their movements had gone completely undiscovered. All of Lord Kingfen's Peak Dominator Realm disciples were focused entirely on guarding the core formations, paying no attention to what was happening beyond them. They only needed to approach the core formations slightly, then use the myriad formation crystal to replicate them remotely before retreating with ease. No one would notice a thing. Up ahead is Sky Burning Court, where Lord Kingfen's most prized disciple is cultivating. At that moment, the thin, wiry man trailing behind the purple-haired woman suddenly spoke. Sky Burning Court? The purple-haired woman cast a fleeting glance in that direction. Sky Burning Court was also an important node within the city's grand formations. They'd have to pass through it and let the myriad formation crystal replicate its structures. Swoosh. Soon the group reached a spot not far from Sky Burning Court. Buzz buzz buzz. When the purple-haired woman finished replicating the formations around Sky Burning Court with the myriad formation crystal, she was preparing to leave. The hunched old woman beside her suddenly spoke. Lord Qingfen values this disciple so highly, if we were to kill him, wouldn't that be a major accomplishment for us? These words instantly sparked a glint in the eyes of the others. Lord Qingfen had countless disciples, hundreds of thousands in total, but even someone like Feng Wanxing could only address him as the Marquis. It was clear that even if Feng Wanxing were to fall in battle one day, Lord Qingfen likely wouldn't blink an eye. But Lin Yuan? Not only had Lord Qingfen personally escorted him out of Qingfen City, but he also allowed Lin Yuan to address him as Master. Moreover, in recent times, Lord Qingfen had fulfilled nearly all of Lin Yuan's requests, even offering up his normally secluded training grounds, Sky Burning Court, to him. From this, it was evident just how much Lord Qingfen cherished Lin Yuan. And it also suggested that Lin Yuan's talent and aptitude must be monstrously extraordinary, so much so that someone as exalted as Lord Qingfen, a peak-level great lord, had lost his usual composure. Senior sister, since we still have plenty of time, and with Lord Qingfen occupied by our master while the Peak Dominator Realm disciples are preoccupied with the core formations, why don't we give it a try? The thin man grew visibly eager. Given Lord Qingfen's regard for Lin Yuan, under normal circumstances, they wouldn't even have the privilege of laying eyes on him, let alone take any action against him. It was only now, amidst the conflict between Purple Dream Domain and Qingfen Domain, that they had the chance to get so close to Lin Yuan. I also think it's worth trying. Another powerhouse from Purple Dream Domain chimed in. In the short term, killing Lin Yuan would be a tremendous feat, a tangible reward. In the long term, Lin Yuan's terrifying talent posed a dark threat. If left alone, he would undoubtedly become an insurmountable obstacle for Purple Dream Domain in the future. Rather than waiting for him to grow into an unstoppable force, why not take the chance to snuff him out now? Even if they failed, it wouldn't matter. They still had plenty of time left in Qingfen City, more than enough to replicate the remaining formations. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1044 Are You the Great Lord? Seeking Monthly Pass. _2 As for whether killing Lin Yuan would incite Lord Qingfen's wrath? The Purple Dream Domain and Qingfen Domain are inherently adversaries. Even if Lin Yuan were spared, would Lord Qingfen possibly let them go? Then let's give it a try. The purple-haired woman considered for a fleeting moment and quickly made her decision. She was also curious to see what qualities a disciple nurtured so meticulously by Lord Qingfen would possess. Since the decision was made to act, the purple-haired woman and her companions wasted no time, appearing instantly in front of the Sky Burning Court. This Sky Burning Court is one of Lord Qingfen's retreat spots and a residence for the favored disciple. It's surely protected by a formidable array. We must act swiftly, and if we find that we can't breach the array, depart immediately. The purple-haired woman clearly understood the group's objective: replicate all the arrays within the city. As for killing Lord Qingfen's treasured disciple, that was purely incidental. Success would be ideal, but failure shouldn't interfere with their main task. Understood. The other powerful figures nodded in agreement, sharing her perspective. A mere attempt posed no risk or downside. Inside the Sky-Burning Court, Lin Yuan gazed out beyond. In fact, the moment the purple-haired woman's group employed the myriad formation crystal to replicate the arrays surrounding the Sky-Burning Court, Lin Yuan had already detected their presence. However, adhering to Lord Qingfen's instructions, he had refrained from taking action, continuing his cultivation undisturbed. But now the group had arrived right outside the Sky Burning Court. What are they trying to do? Lin Yuan stepped out of the pavilion, still within the protective range of the Great Array. So this is Lord Qingfen's newly accepted disciple? The purple-haired woman spotted Lin Yuan, but without a word, she struck directly. Ia the Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. In an instant, a hazy purple force began to envelop the sky-burning court, while other Purple Dream domain powerhouses unleashed their methods, holding nothing back, aiming to kill Lin Yuan in the shortest possible time. The intelligence regarding Lin Yuan obtained by the purple-haired woman and her companions came from the Yu family. Before apprenticing under Lord Qingfen, Lin Yuan had only reached the 8th layer of cultivation. With their half-step great honor tier of strength, even with the Great Array's protection, as long as even a trace of power seeped through, Lin Yuan would have no chance of survival. Rumble. Terrifying energy crashed toward the sky-burning court. At that moment, an invisible barrier rose around the sky-burning court. The combined attacks of more than 10 half-step great honors were completely intercepted by the barrier, their strikes dissipated soundlessly, vanishing in an instant. A defensive formation of this caliber? The purple-haired woman's expression grew grave, and she immediately abandoned further efforts to strike. She could tell that the defenses of the sky-burning court's great formation were immensely formidable. Forget about their half-step great honor strength. Even a true great honor level expert wouldn't be able to breach it in a short amount of time. Lord Qingfen truly dotes on this disciple. The other Purple Dream domain experts couldn't help but marvel. The sky-burning court wasn't even the central node of the array, yet its level of defense likely surpassed the core itself. Was it simply because Lin Yuan resided within? Could it be that Lord Qingfen had specifically adjusted the formation's coverage for this reason? Let's go. Don't waste time here. The purple-haired woman promptly decided to leave. The other Purple Dream domain powerhouses followed suit. Their strength isn't much after all, huh? From within the sky-burning court, Lin Yuan observed for a while. Watching the power unleashed in the attacks by the purple-haired woman and the others, which had entirely been blocked by the array, he calculated their strength. With this assessment, Lin Yuan's thoughts stirred. A projection of his primordial spirit emerged from his body, moving autonomously out of the sky-burning court's confines, stepping beyond the array's protected zone. Since moving into the sky-burning court, Lin Yuan had been greatly satisfied with the cultivation environment. He had silently watched the havoc the purple-haired woman wrought in Qingfen City. If he wasn't sure of her level of strength, Lin Yuan would naturally be cautious, adhering strictly to Lord Qingfen's advice, staying hidden in the sky-burning court. But now, the strength of the purple-haired woman and her companions? Nothing to fuss over. Lin Yuan immediately thought of resolving the threat they posed to Lord Qingfen. Of course, to exercise caution, Lin Yuan didn't step out in person. Instead, he sent out a projection of his primordial spirit. This way, even if an extreme scenario occurred, such as the purple-haired woman concealing her true strength, or a hidden great honor peak or heavenly venerate level power lurking in the vicinity unnoticed by Lin Yuan, the worst-case scenario would merely cost him a projection, which he could reconstruct at any time. The purple-haired woman and her companions were just about to leave when they suddenly noticed a figure voluntarily emerging from the sky-burning court. Yu Yan. The purple-haired woman stopped in her tracks, staring at Lin Yuan with a mixture of astonishment. Why wasn't he staying safely hidden in the sky-burning court yet chose to step out voluntarily? You're from the Purple Dream domain? Lin Yuan looked at the purple-haired woman and her team. Sneaking around here, there's no way this is something good. Attack him directly. The slender man's figure vanished, blending into the space around him. Lin Yuan's voluntary emergence from the sky-burning court had presented him with what he deemed an excellent opportunity. Though he suspected that Yu Yan's willingness to step out might imply a hidden trump card, did he himself not possess cards as well? A Purple Dream domain expert let out a cold snort. A silent wave of spiritual energy appeared, enveloping Lin Yuan imperceptibly. Not only the slender man spotted an opening, but almost instantly, the rest of the Purple Dream domain powerhouses acted, intent on giving Lin Yuan no chance to react. The Purple Dream domain expert who had delivered the soul attack furrowed his brow. Soul attacks are immediate and undetectable, so his was the first to land on Lin Yuan. Yet, the assault yielded no feedback whatsoever, as if it had been swallowed by a swamp, disappearing entirely. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1045 Are you the Great Lord? Seeking monthly pass. _3 What's going on? The expert from the Purple Dream domain looked uncertain and suspicious. Swish. A series of terrifying attacks roared through spacetime toward Lin Yuan, arriving within mere meters of his body in an instant. Why hasn't the defensive formation appeared? The purple-haired woman froze slightly. She had assumed Lin Yuan walked out so confidently because he was still within the defensive formation. But now their attacks were about to strike Lin Yuan, yet there wasn't the slightest trace of the formation's aura. Is this a clone of that Yu Yen? The hunched old woman glanced at the sky-burning court and speculated in her heart, whether it's a clone or not, he's dead for sure. Whoosh. To Lin Yuan's right, a figure emerged, a gaunt man who extended his right hand to grab Lin Yuan. The purple-haired woman, seeing this, immediately turned away. She didn't need to look to know that Lin Yuan's death was certain. The gaunt man's physical body was reputed to be the strongest under the great lords of the Purple Dream domain. In the realm of pure physical strength, he could even withstand several blows from a great lord and survive. With the gaunt man this close, even the purple-haired woman felt her scalp tingle, let alone Lin Yuan, who had no chance of survival. Is this the strength you all dared to infiltrate with? Lin Yuan glanced at the gaunt man reaching out to grab him and casually flicked his right hand. Though it was just a primordial spirit that walked out of the sky-burning court, because of the secret technique, illusory reality, the primordial spirit had transformed into a fleshly body. Its combat power wasn't much weaker than his true physical form. Various physical body divine abilities, the 13th level inheritance infinite void, and even the fierce sun divine body, everything could still be cultivated in spirit form. Bus, bus, bus. With Lin Yuan's casual hand wave, the gaunt man who had already reached him suddenly showed a drastic change in expression, turning deathly pale and coughing up several mouthfuls of blood. His body and soul began to collapse until a faint green glow enveloped him and barely stabilized his injuries. He retreated violently backward. This scene left the purple-haired woman and the other Purple Dream domain experts watching in stunned disbelief. Senior brother Quangzhen? The purple-haired woman couldn't believe what she had just witnessed. He was severely injured instantly? If not for the tears of life gifted by the master, wouldn't he already be dead? Senior brother Quangzhen's physical body was unmatched in the Purple Dream domain. Even a great lord's attack might not kill him. And yet, with a mere flick of Lin Yuan's hand, he had practically already died once. The purple-haired woman couldn't accept this. Even if Lin Yuan had hidden strategies to confidently walk out of the sky-burning court, she had assumed it would involve defensive measures. Something, for instance, to evade the gaunt man's attacks. But this? What was this? Rumble. At this moment, the other Purple Dream domain experts' attacks also descended. However, all of their assaults instantly ignited upon brushing against the edges of Lin Yuan's garments, burning unceasingly until they were completely annihilated. Run. He's a great lord, he's a great lord. Not far away, the gaunt man, senior brother Quangzhen, transmitted a message to the purple-haired woman and the others without hesitation and fled without looking back. If not for the life-saving treasure, the tears of life, he would have been completely annihilated just now by Lin Yuan's casual hand wave. For someone to casually land a blow that inflicted such devastating damage, there was no explanation other than that Lin Yuan was a great lord. That's why the gaunt man transmitted such a warning. At this moment only one thought occupied his mind: escape. As for why the youngest disciple of Lord Qingfen would be revealed as a great lord, there simply wasn't time to think about it. A great lord? The purple-haired woman's pupils contracted, and she likewise prepared to flee. Buzz. The surrounding space-time began to condense from all directions, hardening like amber and trapping all the Purple Dream domain experts within. Trying to run? Lin Yuan stepped forward, appearing behind the gaunt man and pressed down with his palm. The gaunt man's physical body began to collapse again. This time, without the tears of life to save him, only a wisp of his soul remained, which Lin Yuan suppressed and collected. Swish. Lin Yuan waved his hand once more. Among the remaining dozen or so Purple Dream domain experts, 9 of their physical bodies instantly ignited and began burning uncontrollably, turning to ashes in the blink of an eye. From the moment Lin Yuan had voluntarily stepped out of the sky-burning court until now, after making only a few moves, more than half of the dozen or so half-step great lords from the Purple Dream domain had perished, leaving only a few survivors like the purple-haired woman, barely holding on with their life-saving treasures. Even so, the remaining Purple Dream Domain experts who survived couldn't hide their faces of terror. In front of Lin Yuan, they couldn't even talk about resistance, let alone mount a challenge. They were as fragile as ants. Is that the fierce Sun Divine Fire? Which great lord are you? The purple-haired woman looked terrified as she witnessed her fellow disciples being reduced to ashes. The fierce Sun Divine Fire of the fierce Sun Ancient Country could only be wielded by those who had awakened the fierce Sun Divine Body. To fully awaken the fierce Sun Divine Body? That required at least the peak of the sovereign realm, and even then only an unparalleled prodigy could hope to achieve it. Someone like Lin Yuan, who could slay half-step great lords as easily as butchering chickens, was almost certainly a great lord. A great lord who had awakened the fierce Sun Divine Body? It was known that not all great lords could awaken such a body, but those who did were exceedingly difficult to contend with. So much pointless chatter. Lin Yuan struck again, reaching for the remaining Purple Dream Domain experts who were still alive. Rumble. Lin Yuan's arms suddenly expanded, piercing through the void and appearing directly in front of the remaining Purple Dream Domain experts. These experts, trapped within Lin Yuan's spacetime cage, had their movements drastically slowed down. On top of that, they had already used up all their life-saving treasures to ward off the fierce Sun Divine Fire earlier. Now, faced with Lin Yuan's grasp, they could do nothing but watch as their physical bodies were pierced through, Sir the Oval Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Their souls suppressed and ultimately collected by Lin Yuan at will. Bus. The purple-haired woman faced Lin Yuan's grasp as well. From the surface, Lin Yuan's attack seemed unremarkable, even slow. But to the purple-haired woman, it enveloped all space-time. No matter how she tried to evade or resist, it was completely futile, as though her fate was already sealed, to be pierced through by this grasp. At the core of Qingfen City's most critical formation, Feng Wanqing sat cross-legged, diligently obeying Lord Qingfen's orders to guard the location. Over there? Feng Wanqing noticed something and abruptly lifted his head to look in the direction of the sky-burning court. At that moment, he sensed a violent fluctuation in spacetime emanating from that location. Not good. Feng Wanqing's expression instantly changed to one of panic. The junior disciple is in danger. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1046 Is my disciple the Great Lord? Seeking monthly pass. As long as Junior Apprentice Brother stays within the sky-burning court, relying on the protection of the Great Formation, there shouldn't be any problems. In the blink of an eye, countless thoughts flashed through Feng Wanqing's mind, but his anxiety didn't ease in the slightest. What if the Purple Dream Domain has a way to bypass the Great Formation of the sky-burning court? Or if they manage to lure Lin Yuan out on their own? Too many unforeseen events could occur. Initially, Feng Wanqing had doubts about the Purple Dream Domain's operation this time, expending resources to hold back Lord Qingfen. Only to let a few hundred puppets rampage through the city? That made absolutely no sense. A few hundred Peak Dao Realm puppets already represent a significant cost. On the battlefield, they could already form a military formation. But in the city? At most, they could only wreak havoc here and there. They couldn't possibly inflict significant damage to Qingfen City. A losing trade. Would the Purple Dream Domain do such a thing? And now, sensing the deep temporal fluctuations coming from the sky-burning court, Feng Wanqing suddenly had more speculations and thoughts. Could it be that the Purple Dream Domain's ultimate target is the Junior Apprentice Brother? Although that possibility was equally unbelievable, Lord Qingfen of course valued Lin Yuan highly, but would the Purple Dream Domain really pay such a price for a Junior Apprentice Brother who hadn't even reached the Self-Dao realm? Yuan, take over my position. Feng Wanqing's expression turned solemn, and he immediately made a decision. The temporal fluctuations from the direction of the sky-burning court made him far too uneasy. He had to personally go and take a look. As for the Great Formation Core here, the Dao Realm level experts stationed here weren't just Feng Wanqing. There were also other junior brothers. If Feng Wanqing let go, it would indeed weaken the protective strength of this Great Formation Core somewhat, but compared to the Junior Apprentice Brothers' safety, Feng Wanqing leaned toward prioritizing the latter. In the worst-case scenario, it could just be the Purple Dream Domain using a diversionary tactic, and this Great Formation Core might get breached. But Qingfen City had a total of 12 Great Formation cores. The loss of just one core wouldn't significantly impact the city's defenses. However, if something happened to Lin Yuan and Lord Qingfen found out afterward, Feng Wanqing didn't even dare to imagine the consequences. Senior brother, you're leaving now? Junior brother Wan's face visibly changed. He too could sense the temporal fluctuations coming from the direction of the sky-burning court and was growing increasingly anxious. But the task entrusted to them by Lord Qingfen was to guard the Great Formation Core. Feng Wanqing's departure would be tantamount to leaving his post without authorization, and any accountability afterward wouldn't end well. He'll take full responsibility for all consequences. Just focus on guarding this Great Formation Core for me. Feng Wanqing shook his head and left immediately, heading toward the sky-burning court. The temporal fluctuations still haven't stopped? Feng Wanqing grew increasingly uneasy. From the moment he perceived the temporal fluctuations from the direction of the sky-burning court until now, several breaths had already passed. In all this time, what on earth had happened on the side of the sky-burning court? Was the junior apprentice brother still all right? Search * the novel Fire. Any *T website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The Purple Dream Domain. In the cave abode of the gaunt man Kuang Zhen, a crystal-clear stone floated in midair, emitting faint soul waves. At that moment, a strand of soul power surged out from within the stone, condensing into a figure. It was the gaunt man Kuang Zhen. Whoosh! Inside the cave, backup measures that had been prepared long ago activated. Vast amounts of energy surged forth, condensing into a physical body. My true form. Kuang Zhen's face darkened. His true body had perished, and a strand of his soul had been suppressed by Lin Yuan. Realizing something was amiss, he had unhesitatingly extinguished that strand of suppressed soul. Then, utilizing prearranged life-saving measures, he resurrected. As one of Marquis Purple Dream's disciples, the gaunt man understood very well that even when facing a great lord, killing him through causal curses was nearly impossible. The defenses around his cave abode had been specifically designed to mitigate causal methods. But if even a strand of his soul fell into the hands of a great lord, the consequences would be dire. Thus, Kuang Zhen had decisively obliterated that strand of his soul. A great lord. Qingfen City actually had a hidden great lord. Kuang Zhen's expression revealed obvious fear. His physical constitution was unmatched in the Purple Dream Domain, yet against someone capable of killing him so effortlessly, it could only be a great lord. The other junior brothers and sisters. Kuang Zhen immediately tried to contact the other disciples. He learned that all their true bodies had also perished. They had voluntarily extinguished their suppressed souls and then resurrected, using their life-saving measures. The senior sister is still alive. Kuang Zhen felt no relief. The purple-haired woman was the strongest disciple under Marquis Purple Dream, infinitely close to the realm of a true great lord. Of course, Kuang Zhen didn't believe the purple-haired woman could resist a great lord. As the leader of this operation, she carried numerous trump cards, allowing her to hold out for a brief moment even against a great lord. But only for a brief moment. If the opponent were indeed a great lord, her demise was inevitable. This mission seems to have failed. Kuang Zhen thought to himself. A hidden great lord had completely altered the dynamics of the battlefield, especially given their ambush in Qingfen City. They were entirely caught off guard. A dignified great lord toying with us in such a way. Kuang Zhen's heart was filled with rage and frustration. In his view, their every move had likely been known by that great lord right from the start. Yet the great lord hadn't acted, merely watching them painstakingly reconstructing formations within the city, likely waiting to strike at the final moment, just to deliver despair. That information about Yu Yan must have been deliberately leaked by Lord Qingfen. All that talk about valuing Lin Yuan, about his connection to the Yu family, it's all fake. Lies, all of it. Kuang Zhen's face twisted in bitter anger. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1047 Is My Disciple the Great Lord? Seeking monthly pass, _2" No, we need to inform the master immediately. The failure of this mission wasn't our fault, it was that cunning Lord Qingfen. The gaunt man Kuang Zhen promptly contacted Marquis Purple Dream. The plan targeting Qingfen City originated from the capital of the ancient country, and failure would certainly result in punishment. But was it not mentioned beforehand that another great lord was hidden within Qingfen City? If this information had been known earlier, the Purple Dream Domain would never have implemented the current plan. Dealing with a hidden great lord would require comprehensive adjustments to the entire strategy. In front of the sky-burning court, time and space condensed, imprisoning all directions like amber. This Yu Yen is a great lord? The purple-haired woman was equally desperate, never expecting that she and her group, who intended to see if they could easily eliminate the future major threat to the Purple Dream Domain, would encounter such a formidable opponent. And to find out that the other party was a great lord? Were they rulers contemplating dealing with a great lord? Rustle, rustle. Lin Yuan's right hand pierced through the void, reaching for her. This right hand encompassed all time and space. Earlier, many of the purple-haired woman's fellow disciples had perished under this hand, even the physically strongest gaunt man Kuang Zhen, whose body and soul disintegrated under it. Myriad Formation Crystal. Under the absolute threat of death, the purple-haired woman ignored everything else and directly brought out the ancient treasure bestowed by the capital of the ancient country. The Myriad Formation Crystal could replicate any postnatal array, profoundly mysterious, but it was not merely limited to replicating formations. Similarly, the Myriad Formation Crystal had other uses. It could activate the formations replicated within it externally. Of course, the actual power of a formation directly activated in this way was only a tenth or even several tenths of the original formation's power. However, it was very convenient. After all, setting up a formation required various materials, and the defensive array of Qingfen City had formed after countless millennia of accumulation. Yet the Myriad Formation Crystal could directly form a formation. Extremely astonishing. Rumble. A grand array containing an infinite spatial temporal maze enveloped the purple-haired woman, and Lin Yuan's reaching hand directly missed, falling into overlapping time and space and finally retracted. This formation? Interesting. Lin Yuan observed closely, particularly eyeing the crystal floating before the purple-haired woman. Lin Yuan could sense that the spatial temporal grand array enveloping the purple-haired woman originated from this crystal. Great Lord, why stoop to attack an ant like me? The purple-haired woman's heart pounded, realizing that the manifested spacetime grand array was already the strongest defensive formation she could activate. Even so, with Lin Yuan's previous grasp, she felt a slight tremble in the spacetime grand array. After all, the purple-haired woman was not the true owner of the Myriad Formation Crystal and could not activate its most potent formations. Even if she were the owner, without reaching the Great Lord or Heavenly Venerable Realm, she wouldn't be able to activate it. Despite the Myriad Formation Crystal bypassing numerous material constraints and directly forming a formation, activating the internal formations required at least minimal understanding. You took the initiative against me and I can't fight back? Lin Yuan continued to observe the Myriad Formation Crystal. Your against heaven's understanding allows you to comprehend the source of formations, grasping many of their mysteries. With Lin Yuan's strength, if he truly acted, he could surely break through the spacetime grand array by force and kill the purple-haired woman inside. But doing so would likely damage the crystal. Lin Yuan, having browsed countless books and inheritances on the 13th floor of the sky-burning court, knew this crystal should be the Myriad Formation Crystal. Such a treasure's value was incalculable. Even if Lin Yuan didn't use it himself, he could keep it to exchange for the resources he desired. So he planned to grasp the mysteries of the spacetime grand array activated by the Myriad Formation Crystal slightly and directly bypass the array to kill the purple-haired woman. This way, the Myriad Formation Crystal remained unharmed, and Lin Yuan would benefit. What a pity the few suppressed souls extinguished themselves entirely. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. A peak ruler's mere thought could extinguish their own soul, making it hard for Lin Yuan to prevent it. CTH Novel F. Ire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. We didn't know you were here, Great Lord. Seeing that Lin Yuan didn't act immediately, the purple-haired woman felt a deep sigh of relief. As long as he hadn't attacked, there was room for negotiation. I see that you, Great Lord, aren't a great lord of the fierce sun ancient country. I wonder what price Lord Qingfen offered to have you stationed here? Our Purple Dream Domain is willing to offer double. The purple-haired woman spoke up immediately. She was fully aware of the importance of this plan, as it concerned the beginning of a battlefield between the ancient countries. Even when encountering unexpected changes, they still needed to complete it to the best of their ability. Are you done speaking? At this moment, Lin Yuan had already fully comprehended the space-time grand array activated by the myriad formation crystal with his against heaven's understanding and acted again. Rumble. Lin Yuan's right hand reached out again, probing deep into the intertwining times and spaces. Great Lord Yu? The purple-haired woman's heart trembled, but seeing the myriad formation crystal in front of her, she calmed herself slightly. I can't let this drag on, this way Lord Qingfen might free himself from the master's means. By then, if two great lords join forces, along with Qingfen City's array, the purple-haired woman was contemplating this when she abruptly noticed that Lin Yuan's extending right hand had not retracted after entering the space-time grand array, but continued to approach her. The space-time grand array encompassed countless overlapping times and spaces. Even a great lord-level strongman might be trapped in it briefly. But Lin Yuan's reaching right hand passed through the myriad overlapping times and spaces as if they were nothing, and the space-time grand array, centered on the myriad formation crystal, seemed as fragile as paper before Lin Yuan's hand. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1048 Is My Disciple the Great Lord? Seeking monthly pass, under 3-inch no. The purple-haired woman within the space-time grand array widened her eyes. The myriad formation crystal was unable to stop Lin Yuan, and before a great lord-level expert, she had utterly no power to resist. In an instant, the purple-haired woman fell into Lin Yuan's right hand, layers upon layers of suppressive forces enveloping her. She could feel her thoughts slowing down. You want to suppress and capture me alive? The purple-haired woman immediately realized Lin Yuan's intentions. Without hesitation, she obliterated her own soul and consciousness. Lin Yuan retracted his right hand, leaving only the corpse of the purple-haired woman. Even her corpse began to disintegrate. With a mere thought, Lin Yuan summoned the fierce sun divine fire, which surged forward and burned the corpse to ashes. Just then, a deep purple tear condensed, expanding rapidly to form the figure of a woman clothed in a flowing purple gown. Which great lord are you? The woman in the purple gown was none other than Marquis Purple Dream. She had anticipated danger and left a contingency behind the purple-haired woman, enabling her incarnation to manifest in critical moments. After the gaunt man Kuang Zhen reported the developments in Qingfen City, Marquis Purple Dream realized something was amiss and immediately prepared to descend. Unfortunately, she was still one step too late. The purple-haired woman had already perished completely. The events unfolded too quickly for Marquis Purple Dream to intervene. Which great lord am I? Lin Yuan chuckled faintly. In truth, he wasn't a great lord at all. Not only was he not a great lord, he hadn't even reached the Tao realm. In terms of the essence of his existence, he aligned with the self-Tao realm of this source world. Yet Lin Yuan's foundation was far too deep, and his methods terrifyingly advanced, especially with his awakening of the fierce sun divine body. Every motion of his seemed infused with the blazing power of the fierce sun divine fire, making him indistinguishable from an actual great lord. I know all the great lords of the fierce sun ancient country who possess the fierce sun divine body, and you are not among them. Marquis Purple Dream shook her head. The number of great lords within the fierce sun ancient country who possessed both the fierce sun divine body and great lord level strength was exceedingly limited. A mere marquis like yourself, how could you know all the great lords of the fierce sun ancient country? Lin Yuan said dismissively. Whether it's the fierce sun ancient country or any other ancient country, there are bound to be hidden experts in the shadows. Marquis Purple Dream fell silent at Lin Yuan's words. Indeed, her lack of knowledge didn't negate Lin Yuan's existence. This time, I admit defeat on behalf of the Purple Dream domain. However, that myriad formation crystal is not mine. I ask you to return it, and I am willing to exchange other treasures for it. Marquis Purple Dream considered for a moment before speaking. Knowing that her plan had failed, her primary goal now was to minimize the losses. The myriad formation crystal was a gift from the capital. If it were lost, Marquis Purple Dream would bear the punishment, compelling her to ask for its return in exchange. Who do you think you are? A mere incarnation, yet you dare to negotiate with me? Lin Yuan's eyes blazed with fierce sun flames. He extended his right hand toward Marquis Purple Dream. As his hand reached out, it abruptly expanded, shrouding the skies and blocking out the sun. Marquis Purple Dream's expression shifted drastically as her form dissipated instantly. She was, after all, merely an incarnation, a form without substance, able to scatter or coalesce at will. Crush. The surrounding space-time abruptly contracted, forcing Marquis Purple Dream's dispersed figure to reform, compelled to confront Lin Yuan's descending palm. He'll remember you. Marquis Purple Dream fixed her gaze on Lin Yuan before shattering beneath the force of his palm. CTH Novelier. N.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Expecting to reclaim the myriad formation crystal without a shred of sincerity? Do you take me for a fool? Lin Yuan shook his head. The myriad formation crystal's value far surpassed ordinary Great Lord level treasures and weapons. Marquis Purple Dream had attempted to use a mere incarnation to retrieve it? Lin Yuan was no fool. Moreover, treasures like the myriad formation crystal were coveted by every ancient country. Lin Yuan could simply trade it with the fierce Sun ancient country instead, a far more convenient and straightforward option. The myriad formation crystal? Lin Yuan turned his hand, revealing a crystalline object within which countless formations circulated faintly. From this encounter, defeating this group of Peak Dao realm infiltrators in Qingfen City, the myriad formation crystal was Lin Yuan's greatest gain, along with a collection of other treasures and secret tools. Since they dared to infiltrate Qingfen City, these experts from the Purple Dream domain were undoubtedly well prepared, even bringing a treasure as precious as the myriad formation crystal. Clearly they didn't lack other preparations. Not far from Sky Burning Court, Feng Wangxing's figure appeared. Junior brother, you mustn't let anything happen to you. Feng Wangxing was deeply anxious. He would rather see a Grand Array core breached than to let anything happen to Lin Yuan. Before he approached, Feng Wangxing noticed space-time coalescing in front of Sky Burning Court. A woman clad in a flowing purple gown stood quietly there. Is that Marquis Purple Dream? As the eldest disciple of Lord Qingfen, Feng Wangxing was naturally familiar with the great lords of opposing domains and instantly recognized her identity. As I suspected, the target is Junior Brother. Marquis Purple Dream's appearance outside Sky Burning Court confirmed Feng Wangxing's suspicions. For a dignified great lord from another domain to appear here, the only possible target was Lin Yuan. And yet, what followed? Feng Wangxing witnessed a sight he would never forget. Before his eyes, his junior brother, standing calmly at the gates of Sky Burning Court, extended his right hand. The hand grew explosively, shrouding the heavens in ancient, primeval majesty. And Marquis Purple Dream, faced with this monstrous palm, had no means of resistance and was shattered to dust in an instant. What? Feng Wangxing stared in stunned disbelief. This was his junior brother? City Lord's mansion. Lord Qingfen sat cross-legged, his consciousness trapped in a dream woven by Marquis Purple Dream. A moment later, Lord Qingfen's aura surged and his eyes snapped open. Purple Dream, your dream weaving leaves much to be desired. Lord Qingfen immediately spread out his senses, scanning Qingfen City's current state. Upon confirming the safety of the 12 Grand Array cores, he turned his gaze to Marquis Purple Dream. Lord Qingfen frowned slightly. The Marquis Purple Dream he now beheld appeared distinctly unsettled, staring straight at him with an inexplicable expression. This left Lord Qingfen a bit baffled. You suddenly attacked me and now you're wearing this expression? Qingfen, what a clever tactic, to have prepared ahead and secretly hidden a great lord. Truly impressive, truly cunning. After speaking, Marquis Purple Dream dispersed her incarnation voluntarily. This operation had resulted in catastrophic losses for the Purple Dream domain, and she would likely face punishment from her ancient country. Clever tactic? Lord Qingfen was utterly perplexed. Prepared ahead? Hidden a great lord? How did he himself not know? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. However, to Lord Qingfen's surprise, the group didn't take any action. Even when they approached the core of the formations, they lingered for just a few breaths before quietly leaving. What are they trying to do? Lord Qingfen realized something was amiss. Marquis Purple Dream had spent tens of thousands of years weaving an intricate dream and sacrificed an incarnation containing her true essence, only for her subordinates to roam around Qingfen City aimlessly? Could it be? Lord Qingfen faintly began to form a conjecture. At this moment, the group led by the purple-haired woman arrived in front of the Sky Burning Court. Unlike before, this time the group did not leave. Instead, they actively began attacking the sky-burning court. Umph. A group of dominators daring to lay hands on my disciples? Lord Qingfen sneered, having personally adjusted the formations around the sky-burning court to make it one of the most heavily fortified areas of Qingfen City. With merely a dozen or so peak dominators, Lord Qingfen remained utterly unconcerned. Sure enough, when the group saw the sky-burning court's formidable defenses, they immediately abandoned their efforts. And then, something happened that left Lord Qingfen astonished. The previously safe and secure Lin Yuan within the sky-burning court suddenly walked out voluntarily. This, Lord Qingfen felt puzzled. But what occurred next deeply shook Lord Qingfen to his core. Lin Yuan casually delivered a few slaps, obliterating the group of peak dominator realm experts. Then Marquis Purple Dream herself descended with another incarnation, only to be slapped to death by Lin Yuan as well. That was Marquis Purple Dream, a great lord-level being. Even though it was only an incarnation, it was far beyond what dominator realm cultivators could contend with. An incarnation of a great lord might not be able to crush certain exceedingly powerful dominator realm cultivators, but it should never have been overwhelmed so effortlessly. Time resumed its normal course. Lord Qingfen fell into silence. My disciple is a great lord? Lord Qingfen felt an overwhelming sense of disbelief. This group led by the purple-haired woman, including the great Lord Marquis Purple Dream herself, merely assumed Lord Qingfen had deployed a hidden great lord within the city. But he knew his own situation well. Lord Qingfen truly hadn't done such a thing. Moreover, Lin Yuan was a disciple he had only recently accepted. These were indisputable facts. Lord Qingfen had no reason to lie about this. No. My disciple is not a great lord. Lord Qingfen abruptly snapped out of his thoughts, realizing that the formation designed to detect critical life energy levels in the city had not triggered any warnings. If Lin Yuan truly was a great lord, there was no way such a significant presence would have escaped detection. Not a great lord yet possessing such power? Lord Qingfen pondered deeply, replaying the earlier scenes again. Chapter 1051 Renowned, Seeking Monthly Tickets? _3 Let's go inside and talk. Lord Qingfen nodded and then walked into the sky-burning court alongside Lin Yuan. I didn't expect your fierce sun bloodline to be so rich. Inside the sky-burning court, Lord Qingfen looked at Lin Yuan with a sigh and said, Fierce sun bloodline? Lin Yuan's heart stirred, and he immediately realized that Lord Qingfen must have attributed his strength to the fierce sun bloodline. As for the so-called fierce sun bloodline, Lin Yuan had learned much from the countless ancient texts and traditions within the sky-burning court. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan immediately felt no need to explain too much. Everything could be attributed to the fierce sun bloodline. I'm not sure either, it's just that the more I cultivate the easier it seems to be. Lin Yuan said at once. Your case of atavism midway through is naturally different from those core royals who are cultivated from a young age. Lord Qingfen shook his head and said. Even within the royal family of the fierce sun ancient country, having a bloodline concentration reach the core level was extremely rare. Cases like Lin Yuan's, where the intense increase in bloodline concentration occurred through atavism, had only a few precedents since the existence of the fierce sun ancient country. Yes. Lin Yuan followed Lord Qingfen's words. What do you plan to do in the future? Lord Qingfen looked at Lin Yuan and inquired. What does Master think I should do? Lin Yuan immediately threw the question back. Your bloodline concentration has reached the level of the core royal family. In theory, you should head to the capital as soon as possible and integrate into the royal family. Lord Qingfen paused for a moment before continuing, but you have no foundation within the royal family. Returning rashly is not a good thing. Not a good thing? Lin Yuan immediately understood. Even within the royal family, there are disputes and factions. Lin Yuan's fierce sun bloodline had reached a core level, but he did not originate from any main royal lineage. Returning suddenly would be too complicated. Like a prince from the common folk returning to the palace wanting to inherit the throne? Certainly wouldn't be so smooth. So I suggest you stay in Qingfen City, and wait until you step into the realm of the Great Lord, then return to the capital. Lord Qingfen said. A core royal of the Great Lord realm, their combat power is terrifyingly strong. Going back at that time would at least give you the power to protect yourself. then ill follow master's advice. Lin Yuan immediately responded. In fact, Lin Yuan also didn't want to integrate into the so-called royal family because he did not rely on the fierce Sun bloodline to reach his current strength. Chapter 1052 Spirit Mike King Seeking Monthly Tickets. Yu Clan. Ever since Lin Yuan followed Lord Qingfen to the Domain City, the Yu Clan's days have been exceedingly comfortable. How could they not be? The great venerable Qingfen personally arrived to take Lin Yuan away. Such an honor? How many people in the Qingfen domain can claim the same? The Domain City is far too vast, full of intrigue. I wonder if Yu Yan can adapt to life there. Yu Qiling sighed deeply, worried about his son. If one seeks great achievements, they must venture to greater places, Yu Qiaolong said beside him. If he stays in the Yu clan, no matter how gifted Yu Yan is, his potential will be stifled. At best, he'll only reach the level of our elders in the future. By going to the Domain City and staying close to Lord Qingfen, Yu Yan stands a great chance of ascending to the sovereign realm, maybe even, Yu Qiaolong stopped short of saying that Yu Yan might have a slim hope of touching the great Lord realm. Under Lord Qingfen, disciples reaching the sovereign realm were not unheard of, but even then, they didn't seem to earn any special recognition from the great venerable himself. I'm just a little worried, Yu Qiling responded, worried that Yu Yan might be bullied in the Domain City. After all, he's not strong enough yet. Bullied? Yu Qiaolong fell silent for a moment. With Lord Qingfen's favor on the surface, certainly no one would dare to harm Yu Yan. But in secret and even more insidious ways, who knows? The tallest tree in the forest will be the first to be felled. Lord Qingfen had shown such overt preference for Yu Yan. What must the other senior disciples be thinking? Sar the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If it's a short duration, it may not matter. But over time, undeserved favor without strength to match could become more of a liability than a blessing. This, Yu Qiaolong couldn't help but feel worried as well. Just then, from outside came the ripples of spatial distortion. A figure descended and rushed straight into the Yu clan's household. Patriarch, something major has happened in Domain City, something major. This was one of the Yu clan's warriors, tasked with gathering intelligence from the outside world. Domain City? Something major? Yu Qiaolong's heart tightened. His son was currently in Domain City. Could it have something to do with Yu Yan? Yu Qiling, standing beside him, clearly had the same thought, his expression equally tense. What major event happened in Domain City? A few Yu clan elders appeared, their faces grave. Young Master Yen, the warrior from the Yu clan paused, his expression tinged with disbelief, clearly shaken by the news he had received. What happened to Yu Yan? Yu Qiaolong furrowed his brow tightly. Even if Yu Yan had caused some major trouble in Domain City, there was no reason to beat around the bush like this. Young Master Yen has become a great lord. The Yu clan warrior steadied himself, his voice trembling slightly. Upon hearing this, including the Yu clan elders, everyone fell into stunned silence. A great lord? Yen? Are you spouting nonsense? Yu Qiaolong immediately reacted. Patriarch, this is absolutely true. Lord Qingfen himself said so, the warrior promptly replied. When he first received the news, he had thought it was a hoax, but after multiple confirmations, especially regarding the calamities in Qingfen City caused by the Purple Dream domain, it became undeniably clear. Young Master Yen had indeed become a great lord. He'll go inquire further. The Yu clan elders exchanged glances and immediately reached out to their connections to verify the news from Domain City. Yu Qiaolong did the same. After a short while, the elders of the Yu clan opened their eyes, their faces alight with excitement. In truth, even if they didn't inquire, soon enough many factions would proactively contact the Yu clan, eager to inform them and build favorable ties. A great lord, Yu Yan has indeed become a great lord. According to Lord Qingfen, he had discovered Yu Yan's exceptional talent and aptitude a long time ago when he happened to pass by the Yu clan. He then quietly accepted Yu Yan as his disciple. This was kept secret, though, until Yu Yan ascended to the rank of great lord. Lord Qingfen himself came personally to take him away. Who would have thought? Yu Yan actually ascended to the rank of great lord within the Yu clan? Such hidden brilliance, how could I, an elder, not have noticed? And that Dongyang family, they dared to attempt to assassinate Yu Yan? To assassinate a great lord? Ah, It's fortunate Yu Yen didn't even bother to retaliate at the time. The Yu clan elders were beside themselves with emotion, their excitement uncontainable. They had no reason to doubt the narrative. After all, without Lord Qingfen's covert guidance and cultivation, how could Lin Yuan possibly ascend to the Great Lord Realm? My son, he's ascended to the Great Lord Realm? Yu Chaolong too was overwhelmed with shock. He had expected Yu Yen to perhaps, after countless years of struggle, barely touch the threshold of the Great Lord Realm, yet now it had already happened? Yu Yen, Yu Qiling was equally thrilled. At the very least, as a Great Lord, there wouldn't be anyone in the entire domain city who would dare bully him. Many factions are already preparing to visit our Yu clan, one of the elders remarked. Their purpose, of course, was to pay homage to the newly ascended Great Lord Yu Yen. Elder, I believe our most urgent task for now, Yu Chaolong interjected, is to reform the atmosphere within our Yu clan. Besides, Lord Qingfen wouldn't be able to sustain it for very long. While the fierce Sun Divine Body possessed the ability to burn and devour external items as cultivation resources, the repercussions of excessive reliance on this ability were monumental. Occasional use might not cause significant problems, but making it a consistent practice could draw the attention of truly powerful figures from the fierce Sun ancient country. The Myriad Formation Crystal has substantial value and will be easy to sell. Lord Qingfen contemplated for a moment before saying, "Leave this matter to me. I'll contact buyers who have a genuine need for the Myriad Formation Crystal." As a renowned peak-level Great Lord, Lord Qingfen naturally had many connections. With Lord Qingfen handling the negotiations, the crystal could be sold at the highest possible price. If Lin Yuan were to sell it on his own, he'd risk falling into traps. After finalizing the details for selling the Myriad Formation Crystal, Lin Yuan and Lord Qingfen shifted their discussion to the Purple Dream domain. Marquis Purple Dream is unlikely to let this go, Lin Yuan said. From the strategies to stall Lord Qingfen to the attempt to replicate Qingfen City's grand formations using the Myriad Formation Crystal, each step revealed Marquis Purple Dream's unrelenting ambition for Qingfen City and the Qingfen domain. Would Purple Dream Marquis truly retreat after such a failure? Furthermore, the assault on Qingfen City might not solely be Marquis Purple Dream's initiative. The Myriad Formation Crystal was likely bestowed by the higher-ups of their ancient country, and the true mastermind behind the move on Qingfen City could be one of those high-ranking figures. I am well aware, Lord Qingfen nodded. With his strategic thinking, he had naturally deduced several possibilities. I'll take my leave now. A few of my friends have already expressed considerable interest in the Myriad Formation Crystal. Lord Qingfen stood up and departed. Lord Qingfen disappeared. The sky-burning court fell silent once more. Purple Dream Domain. Lin Yuan's thoughts wandered before he stopped ruminating further. Considering Lord Qingfen's knowledge of the Purple Dream Domain and its affiliated ancient country, Lin Yuan trusted him to handle the situation appropriately. As for the next steps against the Purple Dream Domain, Lord Qingfen would provide guidance. Lin Yuan's priority was to continue cultivating and strengthening himself. See the novel, Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. No matter the circumstances or location, enhancing one's strength was always the correct course of action. The philosophy of strength reigning supreme was universal across any realm or world. The number of fiery sun seeds I've condensed now exceeds 31,000, yet continuing to condense more is growing increasingly difficult. Lin Yuan silently contemplated. In just a moment, a vast consciousness descended, coalescing into a tall and imposing figure within the hall. Greetings, Your Highness. All the figures bowed slightly toward the tall silhouette. The towering figure, known as the Spirit Might King, swept his gaze around. He was a king-level powerhouse. In the many ancient countries of the Fengyuan world, there were only two paths to being conferred the title of king. One was to step into the heavenly venerable realm and then receive the ancient country's decree of investiture. This was the most typical path for the many king-level powerhouses across the ancient nations. The other was to ascend to kingship through imperial lineage. The royal bloodline carried the essence of the ancient country's progenitor. To become a king through imperial lineage required a bloodline concentration nearly at the core of the royal hierarchy. Additionally, one had to reach the Great Lord level in cultivation. A Great Lord level powerhouse with a close-to-core royal bloodline might not quite match the strength of a heavenly venerate but would not lag far behind, thereby qualifying them for kingship. This spirit might king had ascended through the second pathway, carrying a potent bloodline of the ancestral progenitor. Speak. How are we to take the Qingfen domain now? Spirit Might King glanced at the group, his gaze lingering momentarily on the Marquis Purple Dream before speaking lazily. He already understood what had transpired regarding Qingfen City and knew it was not entirely the Marquis Purple Dream's fault. Who would have anticipated that Qingfen City harbored a hidden Great Lord? In fact, prior to initiating their plan, the Marquis Purple Dream had already simulated such a scenario, tracking the movements of Lord Qingfen's Great Lord-level allies and the region's other Great Lords from dozens of nearby domains. This was to ensure that her strategy would not coincide with a visit from one of Lord Qingfen's Great Lord-level allies. Yet ultimately, who could foresee that Lord Qingfen had secretly nurtured a Great Lord disciple? A Great Lord-level entity concealed for so long? Truly, Lord Qingfen had exceptional patience. Your Highness, now that Lord Qingfen is on alert, seizing Qingfen City at the minimal cost will be exceedingly difficult. A figure spoke softly. This was indeed the truth. If the plan had gone smoothly, the Marquis Purple Dream would have replicated all of Qingfen City's formations. Then, with Spirit Might King stepping forward to request assistance from the ancient country's array master, they could have completely taken control of the inner and outer formations of Qingfen City in the shortest time possible. Afterward, the gathered Great Lord-level entities could infiltrate Qingfen City without detection and strike with overwhelming force. At that point, even if Lord Qingfen escaped alive, he would be fleeing in disarray while Qingfen City, along with the Qingfen domain, would inevitably fall. But now, the possibility of taking Qingfen City at minimal cost had been virtually eliminated. After this encounter, Lord Qingfen would undoubtedly report the matter to the higher-ups of the Fierce Sun ancient country. It was even probable that, at this moment, Qingfen City already harbored powerful individuals from the nation's capital. Now, even if Qingfen City's formations were laid bare, nobody would dare step inside. Since taking it at minimal cost is no longer possible, then we proceed with a standard assault. Spirit Might King spoke in an indifferent tone. Having just ascended to kingship, and as someone who had attained it through the Great Lord level, his prestige and strength still lacked recognition. He urgently needed a war to solidify his standing. In all the ancient nations to beings below the Great Lord and Heavenly Venerate levels, the royal bloodline was exalted and inviolable. But in the eyes of Great Lords and Heavenly Venerates, the so-called royal bloodline was simply seen as a matter of luck, slightly more concentrated ancestral bloodline, nothing more. They all carried the progenitor's essence in their veins. Even if your bloodline was purer, without strength or renown, why would anyone obey you? This was especially true of heavenly venerable level powerhouses. Their strength had already reached unparalleled heights. Even the core royal members of Great Lord level could only barely compare to them in power. Heavenly Venerate level figures generally paid little heed to the ancient royal family. Their willingness to accept royal decrees of investiture was purely out of respect for the progenitor of the ancient nation. A standard assault? The faces of the Marquis Purple Dream and the other Great Lord level figures changed slightly. This meant that a war between the two ancient nations was inevitable. Of course, it would only be a localized war, likely confined to several domains or at most dozens. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. For this war, I want all of you ready to act at any time. Understood. The assembled figures responded at once. As a royal king, Spirit Might King had the authority to initiate war. Of course, possessing the authority to wage war is one thing. If the war is lost and the ancient country suffers heavy losses, Spirit Might King would bear full responsibility. Conversely, if the war is won, Spirit Might King would reap enormous rewards. Even so, initiating war was not something any royal king undertook lightly. The risks were too high, and even among ancient countries, victory was by no means guaranteed. Spirit Might King, driven by his eagerness to elevate his own reputation, was taking a calculated risk. Qingfen City. Lin Yuan was cultivating within the sky-burning court. At that moment, Yu Yin, come out for a moment. Lord Qingfen's voice called out. Lin Yuan responded immediately, leaving the sky-burning court and heading to the city lord's mansion. This was also where Lord Qingfen usually cultivated. At this moment, there were two figures within the mansion engaged in pleasant conversation. The figure on the left was Lord Qingfen, while the one on the right was an ordinary-looking middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's aura was restrained, making him seem like an average person. Yet his eyes were tranquil and warm as though they contained the expanse of worlds. Seated there, he emanated an invisible, boundless vitality from the surrounding space, making others instinctively want to draw closer. Great Venerate Hongye? Lin Yuan instantly recognized the middle-aged man upon seeing him. Within Sky-Burning Court's vast collection of ancient texts and inheritances, one particular miscellany detailed information about all great lords and heavenly venerate-level experts across Fierce Sun Ancient Country and the neighboring ancient countries. Among them, Great Venerate Hongye was particularly renowned. Great Venerate Hongye was not appointed as a marquis by any ancient country. He disliked being bound by restrictions and therefore had not accepted an official title. In terms of strength, Great Venerate Hongye surpassed Lord Qingfen, having comprehended both the Chaos Flame and Chaos Life paths. Using the Chaos Rule as the foundation to evolve countless paths, this was the road that many great lords in the Source World aimed to traverse. Yu Yin, Brother Hongye is quite interested in your myriad formation crystal. Lord Qingfen spoke up. Great Venerate Hongye. Lin Yuan immediately greeted him. He quietly observed the great lord, sensing the dual energies coursing through Hongye's being, one of blazing heat and one of life. To use Chaos Life as fuel for igniting Chaos Flame, indeed, Great Venerate Hongye's strength is fearsome. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Yet, they still could not step into the next level, or each attempted breakthrough had ended in failure. It was time to consider whether the evolution path itself was the issue. If they could find a more suitable path, while it might involve the risk of shattering the Tao, it also held the hope of progressing further. Russell. Lin Yuan continued to walk deeper inside. The sky and earth seemed to transform, and he quickly reached an independent space where countless runes hovered faintly around the void. Please select a purpose. 1. Purchase an evolution path. 2. Sell an evolution path. 3. Other. An utterly emotionless voice echoed in Lin Yuan's ears. Straightforward. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Sell an evolution path. Lin Yuan chose the second option. The emotionless voice repeated, place the evolution path you wish to sell onto the platform. Before Lin Yuan lay a platform entirely constructed of black stone. Lin Yuan pondered briefly, then flipped his hand to produce a jade scroll. It contained the records of a specific branch of the martial arts evolution path. This evolution path, named the Life and Death Martial Tao, was one that Lin Yuan had meticulously refined. Unlike the branch tailored specifically for human civilization, it was nearly universally applicable to any life form possessing flesh and blood. The jade scroll floated above the black stone platform. Deep within 10,000 Paths Pavilion's inner space, an elderly Taoist holding a wine gourd was dozing off. At that moment, the elder seemed to awaken abruptly, mumbling, another evolution path with the potential to reach the realm of dominion, requires my confirmation. As the pavilion master of this branch of 10,000 Paths Pavilion, the elder rarely handled routine matters. Only when collecting evolution paths, especially those reaching certain thresholds, was a secondary confirmation necessary. Collecting evolution paths required 10,000 Paths Pavilion to expend chaos stones, so repeated verification was naturally essential. Let me take a look. The elder stretched lazily and murmured, this evolution path named Life and Death Martial Tao? It utilizes the forces of life and death to refine both the physical body and the soul. The more the elder examined the path, the more intrigued he became. He faintly sensed that this evolution path seemed to hold potential far beyond the boundaries of the realm of dominion. It lacks the ultimate foundational traits of the 12th layer. The elder roughly analyzed the path and deliberated inwardly. I'm somewhat unsure. The elder furrowed slightly in confusion. He could discern that the path's details were exceedingly refined. Logically, it shouldn't be limited to mere dominion potential. Could it be a Chaos Realm evolution path? He speculated in his heart. No, if it involves the Chaos Realm, I'd better consult the Eye of Myriad Laws for verification. The Eye of Myriad Laws governs the operations of all branches of 10,000 Paths Pavilion. Each pavilion has the ability to summon a projection of it. The main 10,000 Paths Tower resides in the most enigmatic part of the Chaos Void, rumored to have been created by the Eye of Myriad Laws. Xian Huang once made various conjectures about the Eye of Myriad Laws, ultimately hypothesizing that it might be an ancient relic left by a 13th-layer temporal life form. SAR the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Universal laws and paths extending everywhere. The elder, still holding the wine gourd, stood up and entered an octagonal hall, activating the floating runes in the void around him. Within moments, a vortex gradually appeared before the elder, from which a colossal eye was faintly projected. The Eye of Myriad Laws. The elder adopted a respectful demeanor. The immense eye, its iris golden, towered above the elder. This is the evolution path. The elder wasted no words, immediately presenting the life and death martial Tao and placing it before him. The Eye of Myriad Laws turned its golden iris slightly, fixing its gaze on the life and death martial Tao. In an instant, deep within the colossal pupil of the Eye of Myriad Laws, the threads of time faintly extended, forming a trajectory of the life and death martial Tao. This trajectory stretched continuously forward, ultimately piercing through the infinite depths of chaos. This evolution path? The Eye of Myriad Laws seemed to perceive something, and its immense pupils subtly contracted. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1058 Conditions of the Eye of Myriad Laws, Seeking Monthly Tickets. Within the immense pupil of the Eye of Myriad Laws, countless martial Tao cultivation pathways rooted in life and death extended and spread rapidly. The force driving the life and death martial Tao to stretch and spread in various directions is the power of time. As the foundation of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion, the Eye of Myriad Laws can observe the futures of each evolution pathway, located across multiple timelines. Although it cannot encompass all timelines, it is more than sufficient to judge the potential of an evolution pathway. A new evolution pathway, especially one without an ultimate existence. Who dares to predict how far it can eventually go? No matter how experienced a powerful individual might be, without personally cultivating a path, any judgment is mere speculation. The Eye of Myriad Laws dares, because it can glimpse the potential of a pathway through the futures of countless timelines. This evolution pathway barely has the potential to step into the Chaos Realm level, but I vaguely feel. The Eye of Myriad Laws continued observing the many futures of the life and death martial Tao. In a small number of timelines, Chaos Realm level powerhouses emerged. Something isn't right. This evolution pathway resembles more of a branch stemming from a main path. The Eye of Myriad Laws finally confirmed its assumption. In the Chaos Void, countless vast void domains exist. The 10,000 Paths Pavilion has catalogued an untold number of evolution pathways, naturally aware that some high-potential paths can give rise to branch evolution pathways. This doesn't mean that pathways capable of spawning branches are always superior to those that cannot, but the former undoubtedly possess higher potential. Interesting. The seller wants to leverage the influence of my 10,000 Paths Pavilion to disseminate his evolution pathway? The Eye of Myriad Laws contemplated. Having seen and experienced too much, it could discern the essence of most matters at a glance. Still, an evolution pathway capable of birthing branches does qualify for such an approach. The Eye of Myriad Laws nodded slightly. A pathway capable of spawning branches generally holds enough potential to reach the Great Saint level. Venerable Master of Myriad Laws, what do you think of this evolution pathway? The old man carrying a wine gourd tentatively inquired. He had summoned a projection of the Eye of Myriad Laws precisely because he was uncertain whether the life and death martial Tao was a dominator-level pathway or a Chaos Realm pathway. After all, the difference between the two is immense. It can be considered a Chaos Realm evolution pathway. The life and death martial Tao across the countless timelines within the pupil of the Eye of Myriad Laws dissipated. A Chaos Realm evolution pathway, the old man nodded. This aligned with his own intuition. They'll let him know, CTH Novelier. N.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Just as the old man carrying the wine gourd was about to reply to Lin Yuan, the Eye of Myriad Laws, condensed from the vortex of the void, did not dissipate. Instead it spoke, I want to meet the seller in person. You wish to meet the seller in person, venerable master? The old man froze. The Eye of Myriad Laws was the true controller of the 10,000 Paths Tower. Typically, a projection of the eye was only summoned to assess uncertain evolution pathways. Meeting sellers in person? Extremely rare. Given the exalted status of the Eye of Myriad Laws, it usually disdained personal encounters with sellers. Yes. The old man's thoughts raced and he quickly nodded. Isolated space. Lin Yuan stood quietly on a platform of black stone, waiting for the 10,000 Paths Pavilion's response. The credibility of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion is beyond question. They won't take my evolution pathway without settling accounts, Lin Yuan thought to himself. In truth, even if the pavilion were to act unscrupulously, Lin Yuan wouldn't mind. After all, his purpose in coming here was to disseminate the branch pathway of the martial arts evolution road. If the pavilion secretly seized the life and death martial Tao evolution pathway to propagate it, it would actually serve Lin Yuan's intentions. Nonetheless, the chances of that happening were slim. Across countless cosmic eras, the 10,000 Paths Pavilion had adhered strictly to fair trade principles. Otherwise, it wouldn't have wielded such massive influence. Relying solely on the strength of its powerhouses? At most, that could instill fear and intimidation. But the 10,000 Paths Pavilion commanded the reverence of countless lives. Even Xian Huang and the Moyu Tower Master hadn't uncovered any dark secrets, reinforcing its reliability. As Lin Yuan waited silently, the world suddenly shifted. Lin Yuan was transported directly to another dimensional space. Where is this? Lin Yuan's expression changed as mysterious runes floated in the surrounding void, rotating slowly. Here, he felt entirely severed from the outside world. Even his connection to his true form had been forcibly weakened to some extent. Do not be alarmed. A voice emanated. Lin Yuan looked over, only to see an old man carrying a wine gourd gazing at him. The pavilion master of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion? Lin Yuan recognized the old man. Among the most untouchable powerhouses of the ancient Ming Chaos continent, this figure was listed. And that. Lin Yuan turned his gaze to the old man's side, where a phantom vortex hovered, containing a colossal golden eye that was scrutinizing him. The Eye of Myriad Laws. Lin Yuan's heart jolted. What little was known externally about this ultimate controller of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion was minimal, though both Xian Huang and the Moyu Tower Master were fully aware and had specifically left warnings. It seems you recognize me? The Eye of Myriad Laws regarded Lin Yuan, its tone calm. I have seen the Eye of Myriad Laws. Lin Yuan slightly bowed. Even Xian Huang and the Moyu Tower Master would bow respectfully when facing the Eye of Myriad Laws. Naturally, Lin Yuan wouldn't dare act presumptuously. Indeed, an evolution pathway capable of creating branches must come from no insignificant origins. It's only natural you'd know of me. The Eye of Myriad Laws continued gazing at Lin Yuan, speaking to itself. Its fame might be slightly unfamiliar to path-splitting realm and dominator-level powerhouses, but to those at the Chaos Realm level, Chaos Great Saints and Absolute Great Saints. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. To ascend to the 13th layer requires breaking free from the time loop? What if one fails to break free? Lin Yuan couldn't help but ask. If you fail, then you fail. You will remain forever trapped in the time loop. The Eye of Myriad Laws responded. In truth, being trapped in a time loop isn't painful. Within the loop, everything follows a predetermined trajectory, no surprises, no possibilities, just endless repetition. The Eye of Myriad Laws said with a tinge of lamentation. It truly doesn't sound painful. Lin Yuan nodded. Yet to those at the peak of the Chaos Realm, such a state was worse than death. The peak of the Chaos Realm signified entities that looked down upon all existence, be it the chaos void or the origin world that Lin Yuan had descended into. Beings like the chaos great saints and great saint venerables stood at the pinnacle of supremacy. You only need to know a little, there's no need to delve into details. Every chaos realm peak existence faces a unique time loop when attempting to step into the 13th layer. Knowing in advance won't provide any benefit. The Eye of Myriad Laws advised. I see. Lin Yuan had a moment of realization. No wonder neither the profound Shenhuang lineage nor the magic Jade Tower had left behind any intelligence or records about breaking through from the 12th to the 13th layer. Because unless one reached the completion of the 12th layer, knowing this information in advance was meaningless. Once at 12th layer completion, even without seeking it out, one would naturally come to know these truths. SAR the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. So the sudden disappearance of Shenhuang and the master of the magic Jade Tower, could it be they were trapped in time loops? Lin Yuan speculated in his mind. As of now, no 12th layer existence had emerged from the Shenhuang evolutionary path, yet Shenhuang had suddenly vanished, a situation very akin to being caught in a time loop. Based on the description provided by the Mirror of Myriad Laws, being trapped in a time loop was a state of neither life nor death, not true demise nor genuine vitality. Does propagating one's evolutionary path help in breaking free from the time loop? Lin Yuan inquired. You've come all this way, do you even need to ask? The Eye of Myriad Laws cast another scrutinizing glance at Lin Yuan and explained, in a time loop, relying solely on oneself to break free leaves the chances too slim to count on. However, leveraging external anchors or beacons can enhance the probability of escape. Thus, many Chaos Realm beings prepare in advance, intending to utilize the influence of my 10,000 paths pavilion to propagate their evolutionary paths, thereby increasing their odds of breaking through to the 13th layer. The Eye of Myriad Laws paused and looked at Lin Yuan with a hint of peculiarity. But for someone like you, at just the path-splitting realm, seeking to propagate your evolutionary path, well, that's extremely rare. This was also why the Eye of Myriad Laws had been willing to chat with Lin Yuan thus far. Path-splitting realm beings have no understanding of their road's end, nor can they determine whether they might switch to a different evolutionary path in the future. Almost no one at that stage would attempt to propagate their evolutionary path. Even those with unparalleled backing, elders who had reached the peak of the Chaos Realm, would not act so recklessly. Otherwise, if midway through the propagation they realized the path didn't suit them and ended up dispelling their path, to choose another evolutionary road, all their previous efforts would be for naught. For Lin Yuan to dare to attempt such a thing, there could be only one explanation. He was utterly certain that this evolutionary path was suitable for him, a certainty that only arose when the evolutionary path was one he had personally pioneered and perfected. Only a route he had opened and refined himself would align with him so completely. As for following someone else's pioneering evolutionary path, only those who had cultivated to the Chaos Realm could be confident about whether or not that path suited them. For path-splitting realm and sovereign realm beings, the uncertainty was simply too great. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1060 Conditions of the Eye of Myriad Laws, Seeking Monthly Tickets. _3 If Lin Yuan independently created an evolution pathway, and merely in the path-splitting realm, managed to develop a branch of this pathway, could it be? The Eye of Myriad Laws held great hope for Lin Yuan's potential, which is why it actively initiated conversation and even helped to clarify his doubts. It was merely luck. Lin Yuan detected the lingering tone in the voice of the Eye of Myriad Laws and immediately shook his head in response. Creating an evolution pathway isn't about mere luck, especially the pathway you've created. Each of its branches possesses Chaos Realm level potential, the Eye of Myriad Laws said. Branches with Chaos Realm level potential? What then must the primary path of Lin Yuan's pathway hold? Lin Yuan listened quietly. Before an entity like the Eye of Myriad Laws, there was no need to feign excessive humility. Its recognition and praise were clear evidence that one was deserving of it. Alright, let's get to the main matter at hand. The Eye of Myriad Laws gazed at Lin Yuan and said, if you wish to use my pavilion of myriad laws to propagate your evolution pathway, that's fine, but it comes with conditions. Please go ahead. Lin Yuan was not surprised in the slightest. During the era of human civilization within the universe, Utilizing the power of humanity to spread one's evolution pathway was only possible because Lin Yuan himself was a citizen of humanity. But for those ancient gods deep within the stars beyond human civilization who sought to spread their evolution pathways among humanity, they would undoubtedly face suppression and containment. Lin Yuan had no direct ties to the 10,000 Paths Pavilion. If he wished to leverage their power to disseminate the branches of his evolution pathways and prepare for his future attempt to ascend to the 13th layer, he would certainly need to pay the price. It's quite simple. For now you need not concern yourself. After you achieve the state of Chaos Realm perfection, then every 10 cosmic eras you must perform a task for my 10,000 Paths Pavilion. The Eye of Myriad Law stated. Perform one task every 10 cosmic eras? CTH Novel F. IR. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lin Yuan looked back at the Eye of Myriad Laws. The prerequisite for this condition was Lin Yuan first attaining Chaos Realm perfection. If other path-splitting realm beings, or cultivators even at Master Realm or Chaos Venerable status, heard this, they would undoubtedly agree without hesitation. After all, even for Chaos Venerables, the certainty of cultivating to Chaos Realm perfection was far from assured. Chapter 1061A Promise, Request for Monthly Tickets. The Eye of Myriad Laws scrutinized Lin Yuan repeatedly. At present, merely within the path-splitting realm's evolutionary pathway, to pioneer a branch capable of reaching the Chaos Realm's potential was already extraordinary. Under such premises, the Eye of Myriad Laws determined that Lin Yuan's potential was significant, with the hope of stepping into the perfection of the Chaos Realm. Otherwise it wouldn't have laid out such conditions. The precondition for Lin Yuan working for the 10,000 Paths Pavilion was for him to achieve perfection in the Chaos Realm. If Lin Yuan failed to reach perfection in the Chaos Realm, the 10,000 Paths Pavilion would certainly suffer loss. How many branch paths have you opened up? The Eye of Myriad Laws observed Lin Yuan again, feeling that he wasn't lying. For the path-splitting realm's evolutionary pathway, to have developed more than one branch is remarkable. Even if the potential of those other branches isn't high enough to reach the sovereign realm, this nonetheless demonstrates the breadth of the primary evolutionary path. The Eye of Myriad Laws felt pleasantly surprised. Could it be that I've truly found a treasure this time? A path-splitting realm with such terrifying potential hasn't been seen in many cosmic eras. The Chaos Realm's perfection varied significantly, distinguishing between ordinary Chaos Great Saints and peerless Great Saints. If Lin Yuan's primary evolutionary pathway allowed for the pioneering of multiple branches while still at the path-splitting realm level, it indicated a strong likelihood of him becoming a peerless Great Saint. A peerless Great Saint, even amidst the vast chaos void, was exceedingly rare. For the 10,000 Paths Pavilion to command such an existence would be exceptionally challenging. There are some. Lin Yuan nodded. Thus far, his main evolutionary pathway, centered on the martial arts evolution road, had pioneered a total of 361 branch paths. Among them, 99 branch pathways had been fully refined, thus enabling their dissemination within human civilization. As for the remaining 200 to 300 branch pathways, although largely developed, they had not been completely refined. However, they were still viable for practice without significant issues. They're all here. With a turn of his hand, Lin Yuan made over 300 jade slips appear before him. Out of the 361 branch pathways, apart from 9 reserved for the 9 supreme powerhouses of human civilization, the rest were all presented by Lin Yuan. So many? The Eye of Myriad Laws was somewhat taken aback. The life and death martial Daos evolutionary pathway had required only 1 jade slip for its entire record, yet the other branch paths Lin Yuan developed required several hundred jade slips. That was unrealistic as well. The sheer population base of human civilization couldn't possibly produce so many 12th-layer practitioners. Take a look, you say? The Eye of Myriad Laws hesitated slightly, glancing at Lin Yuan, then at the over 300 jade slips before it. For a moment, it was uncertain. Should I take a look? After a brief pause, the Eye of Myriad Laws began perusing the first jade slip. This jade slip documented an evolutionary pathway named Illusory Realm Martial Dao, a martial Dao refined using the path of illusions as its foundation. The illusory realm martial Dao was not particularly adept in direct assault but focused primarily on constructing illusionary worlds to exert influence and suppression. Within the Eye of Myriad Law's pupils, pathways entirely composed of illusory realms began to extend and twist, ultimately halting just before touching the boundless layers of chaos. The potential of this evolutionary pathway is at its peak within the sovereign realm. This was the conclusion of the Eye of Myriad Laws, yet there was no trace of relaxation in its expression. Thus far, the illusory realm martial Dao it had examined had been fully documented within a single jade slip. A single jade slip for one evolutionary pathway? Then what about the hundreds of jade slips before it? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. It could discern that the life and death martial Dao originated from a specific evolutionary main path, so naturally, it could see that these 300+ evolution paths also originated from the same main path. What is the name of the main path from which these evolution branches originate? After a long silence, the Eye of Myriad Laws asked with some difficulty. The evolutionary main path? Lin Yuan felt a hint of confusion but still responded, Martial Tao. Martial Tao, Martial Tao. The Eye of Myriad Laws nodded, its gaze deep and unreadable, lost in thought. Then these evolution branches, Lin Yuan continued where the question had left off. I can help you disseminate them. The Eye of Myriad Laws replied. Actually, I have additional branches, but they remain in development and are still incomplete. Lin Yuan thought for a moment and continued speaking. Even while only staying at the path-splitting realm, the martial arts evolution road could produce over 1,000 evolution branches. At the sovereign realm and chaos realm, this number would explode even further. Additional branches. The scalp of the Eye of Myriad Laws tingled as it listened. What kind of sky-piercing Dao was this martial Tao, to be capable of developing such a staggering number of evolutionary branches? Don't worry. As long as they're branches stemming from your evolutionary main path, I can help you disseminate them. The Eye of Myriad Laws collected itself and assured him. Sar the Nell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. That would be ideal. A satisfied smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. If the 10,000 Paths Pavilion could unconditionally help him disseminate all these evolution branches, then assisting them with one task over the course of 10 cosmic eras was actually a fair deal. It would be a standard trade. Then I'll imprint a wisp of my soul essence into it now. Lin Yuan glanced at the golden scroll beside him, the mysterious aura emanating from the characters written upon it. Wait. The Eye of Myriad Laws also turned its gaze toward the golden scroll. In an instant, the golden scroll began to disintegrate. Lin Yuan turned toward the Eye of Myriad Laws, his heart sinking. Could it be that the other party, upon realizing the sheer number of evolution branches he possessed, found disseminating them too burdensome to make the exchange worthwhile, and intended to revoke the deal or renegotiate new terms? I feel the terms we discussed earlier are somewhat unfair. The Eye of Myriad Laws fixed its gaze on Lin Yuan and after a moment, spoke slowly. So you plan to redefine the terms? Lin Yuan asked, feeling a bit resigned. He regretted not splitting the evolution branches he had presented initially. However, when it came to the matters of post-chaos realm perfection, it was better to make sure and ensure clarity. So, what do you intend to do? Lin Yuan was already prepared for the Eye of Myriad Laws to make excessively greedy demands. As long as the demands weren't too over the top, he could still agree. After all, to disseminate such an extensive number of evolutionary paths on his own would be energy-draining and uncertain. Who knew whether he could even propagate them widely? The development of evolutionary paths and their dissemination were entirely separate endeavors. Without sufficient influence and authority, even the most widespread evolution paths could encounter insurmountable obstacles in some regions. Not only did Lin Yuan require his evolution paths to be disseminated to anchor his pathmark beacons more firmly, but even Chaos Venerables and Great Saints of Chaos would do the same. Speak your terms. Lin Yuan awaited the Eye of Myriad Laws' demands. I'll do my best to help you disseminate all the evolution branches. The Eye of Myriad Laws stated. All right. Lin Yuan nodded, waiting for the Eye of Myriad Laws to elaborate further. But after waiting a while, he realized the other party had nothing more to add. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1063A Promise. Request for monthly tickets? _ 3" I don't need to commit to doing something for your 10,000 paths pavilion for 10 cosmic epochs? Lin Yuan's tone carried a hint of surprise as he immediately inquired. No need. The Eye of Myriad Laws shook its head. No other requirements then? Lin Yuan was somewhat taken aback. There is a requirement, said the Eye of Myriad Laws. Then state it, Lin Yuan said, his heart settling down. My next request requires no binding method whatsoever, not even causal consequences. The Eye of Myriad Laws stared at Lin Yuan. I need a promise from you, under the condition that it does not go against your own will and is within your ability. Should the 10,000 Paths Pavilion seek your help in the future, I ask you to assist us just once. That simple? Lin Yuan's expression was marked with astonishment. A promise devoid of any binding force, detached even from causality, meant Lin Yuan could agree or refuse in the future entirely at his discretion. Whatever his choice, there would be no cost to him. It was wholly based on his mood. The demand from the Eye of Myriad Laws, from Lin Yuan's perspective, might as well not exist at all. It's just that simple. The Eye of Myriad Laws nodded. If the martial arts evolution road pioneered by Lin Yuan merely managed to branch out into an evolutionary subpath, even if that subpath held the potential to reach the Chaos Realm, the Eye of Myriad Laws, while helping to disseminate the knowledge of the evolutionary subpath, would also strive to maximize its own interests and secure the greatest gains. The condition of having someone at Chaos Realm Perfection commit to doing one task over 10 cosmic epochs could already be considered a significantly high return. The deterrence of a Chaos Realm Perfection was astounding in and of itself, let alone the idea of this deterrence being available once every 10 cosmic epochs. Initially, Lin Yuan was willing to accept this condition because of his short-lived experience with time. In his eyes, a single cosmic epoch felt interminably long. However, for other great saints, not to mention sovereigns, cosmic epochs were traversed in hundreds or thousands. For a great saint to perform a single task every 10 cosmic epochs was already a fairly demanding requirement. Yet, this applied to life forms with mere potential to become chaos great saints. If the main evolutionary path Lin Yuan followed could branch into several subpaths, the Eye of Myriad Laws wouldn't rescind anything. It might even heighten its demands. For example, reducing the task requirement from every 10 cosmic epochs to 9. However, the evolutionary paths Lin Yuan was pioneering were not a mere handful, nor dozens but hundreds, and based on Lin Yuan's tone, many more evolutionary paths still lay ahead. How could the Eye of Myriad Laws dare to impose any further demands? Indeed, Lin Yuan may be insignificant now. See the novel, F.I.R. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. But given the potential of the martial arts evolution road, it was impossible for him to remain insignificant forever. At present, while Lin Yuan was still weak, the Eye of Myriad Laws could take advantage of the circumstances to extract considerable benefits. But these profits, once Lin Yuan reached his ultimate potential, the point of being able to obliterate the Eye of Myriad Laws, would undoubtedly transform into boundless hidden threats and dangers. The Eye of Myriad Laws, though profit-driven, was not foolish and would not dig such a trap for itself. Thus, it opted for a promise free from any constraints to request Lin Yuan's assistance. In doing so, the initiative rested firmly in Lin Yuan's hands. If Lin Yuan ever grew strong enough to reach that pinnacle, he would likely hold no malice towards the Eye of Myriad Laws and would even fulfill his promise. And if Lin Yuan failed to reach that height, the Eye of Myriad Laws' greatest loss would amount to forfeiting the return of a Chaos Realm Perfection committing to a single task every 10 cosmic epochs. This, in truth, couldn't be considered much of a loss. Do you believe my promise will hold great value in the future? Lin Yuan gazed at the Eye of Myriad Laws. Regardless of whether it was Shen Huang or the Moyu Tower Master, their descriptions of the 10,000 Paths Pavilion and the Eye of Myriad Laws were always marked by phrases like fairness and profit-driven. Neither of these peerless great saints ever thought the Eye of Myriad Laws would engage in any altruism without gaining something in return. In such a context, the fact that the Eye of Myriad Laws still chose such a constraint-free promise to request of Lin Yuan could only mean it considered the potential returns of this promise to be monumental. The martial arts evolution road you've embarked upon holds vast potential. My 10,000 Paths Tower is willing to aid you and cultivate goodwill, the Eye of Myriad Laws stated bluntly, openly revealing its true thoughts. Being able to pioneer an evolutionary path of such potential suggests your future is boundless. My 10,000 Paths Pavilion can accept not asking you to perform tasks but will never coerce you into serving us. The Eye of Myriad Laws spoke candidly. I see now. Lin Yuan suddenly understood. Then I agree. As long as you aid in disseminating all evolutionary subpaths for me, I'll assist you once in the future, provided it's within my capacity and does not go against my will. Lin Yuan nodded as he spoke. Good. The Eye of Myriad Laws exhaled in relief. The transaction was complete. Lin Yuan continued conversing with the Eye of Myriad Laws for a little while longer. In truth, it was primarily Lin Yuan asking questions and the Eye of Myriad Laws answering them. Chaos Realm perfection beings caught in time loops will endlessly cycle until the day they break free, the Eye of Myriad Laws replied. Lin Yuan wanted to know the consequences of being trapped in a prolonged time loop. Is there truly no other solution? Lin Yuan asked inquisitively. There is, technically. The Eye of Myriad Laws thought for a moment. If one could seize a fleeting gap in the time loop and exhaust all origin sources, they could forcibly break free. However, such a release would be akin to burning out, leading to swift obliteration. After gaining the answers he sought, Lin Yuan rose and departed from the 10,000 Paths Pavilion. The Eye of Myriad Laws and the old man clutching the wine gourd watched as Lin Yuan walked away. Venerable Master of Myriad Laws, the old man holding the wine gourd finally dared to speak. Spreading so many evolutionary paths will be quite costly, even requiring you to incur favors. And all for just one promise from that young man? The old man holding the wine gourd seemed slightly puzzled. He had never seen his master, the Eye of Myriad Laws, exhibit such generosity. Remember this, in the distant future, you will feel immeasurable honor for what happened today. The Eye of Myriad Laws cast a sidelong glance at the old man. Because the one you just watched and conversed with might very well become a supreme 13-tier great one. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.